Wow, wow. I didn't
Wow,
see
wow,
you
wow,
there.
wow, wow, wow.
Oh,
Oh
wow.
my god.
I saw Masha there.
Is Masha okay?
Yep.
That fall was that fall real or is she...
No,
I think it
I
was
don't think
just
it was a
she was
fall.
moving really
Okay.
fast.
Yeah, I think she was running.
I thought she fell. Oh my god. Okay. Okay, good.
I can't believe Masha accessed the Speed Force right live on stream.
I was so scared, Masha. It looked like you fell as you were running by, and I was like,
Yeah.
Nah, I just shamble. I run like a little goblin. Which time when I ran by? When I threw the blanket, or like...
I think it was when you threw the blanket.
Yeah.
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 Okay, yeah. It's not my best work.
Oh man.
Are
Hi
we
everyone.
live?
Yes, we're live.
We are.
Hello everyone.
Oh.
Hope everyone's
Sorry
doing
for being
well.
late.
Oh, you're fine.
I feel like I should show off my new cool dice cup. I put all my D6s in a Vox Machina cup.
Nice.
Are
And
they
it's-
spilling over the top?
Almost.
Oh
As
boy.
any good dice container should.
Yeah.
Yep.
The cup runneth over.
But the nice thing is that now that that has filled up, I have the thing I used to be keeping them in to fill up with more dice. So anyway, that'll be fun for me. That's my dice story.
All right,
A good
fine.
dice story.
Yes, thank you for the dice story. Cool. Well, do we want to go ahead and jump into announcements, or do we want to give it a bit of time? I'm okay with giving it a bit of time. We're actually kind of on
Let's
time.
just sit and enjoy the moment, guys.
Hey, we
Yeah.
haven't hung out. We had that week break. It's been a hot minute. I missed y'all.
Hey, guys, let's just think about dogs.
Yeah.
Dog.
Good.
Dog.
I was
Dog.
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 Dog. Dog.
Dog.
Dog.
I just want to say,
Dog.
guys, really
I'm
sad.
trying to write the announcement message and I can't because you're all chanting dog.
Sorry.
I will send a picture of Bucky in the
Yeah.
dog
Yes.
zone.
Yeah.
Dog
He's
zone.
been looking exceptionally cute recently.
You mean
Jokes
like all
on-
the time?
Yeah, joke's on you. He's always exceptionally cute. Also, a picture of a dog I don't babysit him. I dog sit him. Who's really small and is a baby.
Big brain moment. Should we make an emote of Bucky's face? Mars, would you allow that?
I would allow an emote of Bucky's face.
Hell yeah.
It should be our dog emote.
Yes, agreed.
It
Like-
should be our dog emote. Incredible. This is a genius plan.
History in the making right now. Hell yeah.
I've sent 4 pictures of dog. One that features me as well. Because I'm staring at the dog and the dog is staring at me. To our Discord. Join
Join the Discord.
Hi,
Oh my god, hold like Babby.
yeah,
Little
he
guy.
likes to be hold like Babby.
Oh,
Very
my
true.
heart is melting. Look at his big eyes.
Yeah, that second picture where he's staring right into the camera is just...
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
too much.
Does that
It's-
dog have anxiety? He looks like he's got a little bit.
He has lots of anxiety. He doesn't like people, but he likes me very much, which is very wonderful.
What's it
And
like
I-
to be the best?
I
Can
tell
you
him
help?
I tell him about how cool gay and trans people are because he is owned by a Trump supporter.
Oh,
No.
Hmm.
no wonder he's got anxiety.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No way.
Anyway,
Bada
but
bing.
like I'm the only person who can babysit this dog because he's terrified of everyone, but also I get paid for it. So I'm like, I hate to see the inside of this house, but also I get paid. So
I mean, at the same time,
And
you're
I get to
taking money
hold-
from a Trump supporter.
exactly,
And you get to
I get to
indoctrinate
hold a
their
little
dog.
box.
So
Yeah.
They when they go out for the day, like this dog's name is Max, and when Max's parents go out for the day to like work or whatever, which is when I will come and like let him out basically, they put on HGTV for him.
Oh, this
He's
is
like-
this dog. You
Yeah.
babysat him before, right?
He's locked in the kitchen and they put on HGTV for him, and it's so fucking funny to me. And he wears a little jacket sometimes. I am very anxious this week, and so I talk a lot, and also I am bad at regulating my voice, just in case anyone's curious.
I would it would take everything in me if I were invited into a house like that to not hide little stickers of the rainbow flag just all over the place, like behind pictures and stuff.
Mm-hmm. I have thought about it. The problem is, first of all, they would know it.
Yeah.
Second of all, my parents are like vaguely friends with one of them, and so I'm like, I'm to be epic. Thank you. But yeah, that's little boy. I get to babysit him again next week, and I'm excited about it. He's just a little guy. He also goes under the table. Like, I'll let him out of the kitchen. He'll go under like the little coffee table, and like he'll just flip over on his belly and stare at me. And he wants me to basically take him by the shoulder, like grab his little puppy body and like pull him out across the floor. Like, he likes the feeling of being pulled across the carpet, I guess. And it is so weird to me, but like, I'll do it and then I'll pet him for a bit and then he'll go back under there and like I'll pull him out again. It's wild. Little dog, little man.
That actually sounds like a lot of fun, to be honest with you. Sydney and I went on a walk this week at a state park, and we saw this dog. These two friends were walking their dogs, and you know when dogs kind of like get on their back and like they scratch their back on like a carpet or the grass and stuff like that, and you see just like that pure joy that we as humans will never know. But like, you know, they're just like, they're scratching their back, they're having the best time. This doggo like completely misses the patch of grass and hits just like this like stretch of dirt that's underneath the roots of a tree, and he's just kind of like scratching around, and he's like his fur is black, and when he gets up he looks like it looks like cocoa fur. It's like so covered in dirt and stuff like that, and the owner's like, no. And we just walked past, and we were like I just couldn't help but like I was like oh man, I want to know that happiness. I want to
Yeah.
I have to give my dog a bath. Fun fact about Bucky, he hates baths. And hates going to places where you can bathe him properly, but we can't bathe him in the tub because he'll scratch up the tub, which means that I get to trap him in the shower, close the shower door, and wash him in the shower.
Nice.
Which is not fun.
Why
He
is this
doesn't
your
like it.
job?
Because I don't know. I'm at home? I don't know. I don't have enough
Make your
service.
brother do it.
I wish. I can barely get the man to clean the kitchen. Anyway.
So,
he might be watching. Hi,
Teenagers,
Kevin.
am I right?
Hi, Kevin.
Bye.
He
Kevin.
sometimes does. Just for...
Am I
It's
favorite?
a teenager thing to like not be great at cleaning things.
Yeah.
You know.
What character is your brother's favorite?
I don't know.
Well, you should ask.
Well, I
Yeah.
should ask. I don't know if he's watched any of this season, though.
Oh.
I know he would, like, pop in, like, last season. I think he liked Chuck a lot.
I would imagine. What
I
a
think
keeper.
I think he kept saying I like the old man, and I was like, do you mean Chuck or Teddy? And he was like, the old one, and I was...
Oh, well, yeah. Well, technically, Chuck is older than Teddy. I think, yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, so one of the old men.
I'll take my win.
Although technically Teddy's older now.
Alex did have white hair,
Oh,
though.
wow.
So maybe.
And Apophis was eons old.
That's true.
Mm.
And
got
was
you there
lit.
on technicality.
25.
And was the most
Yep.
normal. Ugh.
Speaking of our characters, should we get into announcements?
I have one final thing to say before announcements. Weed
Do
cat.
it.
That's all.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's all.
I have so many tangents in my brain. I have ran out of my ADHD medication. So anyway, I'm gonna try and keep things streamlined in my brain. Hello.
Hi everyone. With that in mind, welcome to TurnTables RPG. We're an experimental tabletop role-playing game stream where every GM plays and every player GMs. We take turns telling a collective narrative through individualized mysteries that all of our keepers and players create and and we play through. And this is our second season of Monster of the Week. We're very excited. We just finished a little break week, and before that we had a wonderful first mystery run by our very own Dustin Hacker up here at the top, for me at least. Other side, Masha, yeah. And if y'all want to check out the VODs for Dustin's mystery, those are on YouTube, episodes 1 through 3 on TurnTables RPG. And then we also on our YouTube also have our first season of Monster of the Week. If you would like to watch that, it is, I believe, 32 episodes long. It's a honker. But if you want to watch it, you're absolutely welcome to. But the fun part is you don't need to know the story that we are telling right now. This is a brand new story. It's a brand new setting, brand new characters. So thank you for joining us.
Until it gets to my mystery, which I will
Correct.
buttload with references that
Yeah.
you can only understand if you watch all 32 episodes.
It's gonna be the twisted paperclip that ties everything together.
That's the
Deep
plan.
cuts.
Yes, I think that's everything I wrote on there. Mars.
Hello! A lot of our VODs are on YouTube. There's Monster of the Week Season 1. There's Uncharted Worlds, Return to OE. All of our Tiny Tables one-page RPG stuff. All good, all great, on YouTube. Which is, coincidentally, the YouTube channel is named the same as the rest of our social medias, including our Twitch. That was not the greatest segment. At TurnTables RPG. Twitter, Instagram. I was looking at them, and my brain just kept going to Pinterest, and I was like, why?
Follow the new Turntables RPG Pinterest coming out soon.
That's where we're missing out, guys. That's where we're gonna go
the market.
viral. Yep.
Yeah.
The market. We gotta get on Pinterest. We gotta get on Pinterest.
We gotta make Pinterest is like mood boards, right?
Yeah.
They have, like,
Exactly.
a mood board for every character.
Yeah.
Honestly,
and then
not the worst idea.
I have Pinterest boards for each of my characters.
Nice.
But then I was like, okay, so it's not Pinterest, and then my brain was like Tumblr, and then I was like, no, we don't have a Tumblr. LinkedIn, no.
Anyways,
I have brain is bad. YouTube.com/TurnTablesRPG. Also, Discord. There's
Yes.
one of those. You should join it. I sent dog pictures there earlier.
they
They're
did.
good pictures.
Listen, if you have like a chore or something, I'm just gonna do this quick shout out. If you have like a short little chore or something that's gonna take a little time, folding clothes or anything like that, our Tiny Tables one-page RPGs are great for that.
Absolutely.
Because they're bite sized. It's just one stream and it's done. And you get to see our trademark humor.
Mhm.
And
And we got
see
a
if we-
dinosaur one.
We
Yeah,
do have
we
a
do have a
dinosaur
dinosaur.
one.
Sure do.
So yeah, if you want to just if you want to see one where we or if you want to like see if it's worth it to commit to 32 very long episodes, check those out. Check those out. See if you like it. If you like it, jump into somewhere else.
Arguably, you can also watch the Tiny Tables, and if you like that, check out Return to OE, because that's 12 episodes, and it is beautiful. It's a wonderful game run by co-producer Eric Barbara, Osteonaut in chat, and he's the GM for that game, and it's just chef's kiss. You all did a great job. I love watching it. I loved watching it. It's a beautiful story. If y'all like sci-fi Star Wars, or I'm sorry, sci-fi space sci-fi, in a very kind of like space opera-esque theme, like definitely check out Return to OE.
Work your way up from our short stuff to our long stuff.
Correct.
Yeah, that was the season where I played a cowboy.
And I played another, well, I guess that was my first non-binary character with a sword. I've continued the trend this season.
The first of
Hell yeah.
many.
The
I
first
do
of
feel
many.
Like we are missing a cowboy this season. I think that's
Yeah.
where we're lacking.
Yeah.
Fig's got a southern accent.
Yeah, I
He's
think-
a little
I
bit
think
of a
Fig is the
we
cowboy.
got a
closest
southern accent, yeah.
Fig
Yeah,
is
So we'll
like,
call Patrick.
loves camping, in the outdoors, has a gun,
We need to get her a hat.
cowboy things.
Yeah. I think she's yeah.
You can
Fig
put Fig's
deserves
little
a
guy
hat.
on her head and call him a hat and just.
You could have a
Yeah.
big rimmed cowboy hat and have the little guy just like sit up there.
That would be
Oh my
cute.
god, wrap around it? We gotta call
Yeah.
Patrick.
Hey, someone call Patrick quickly.
Someone call Patrick.
Patrick, I know you just finished everything, but can you please?
Yeah.
So
Yes. Before, do you want to, Dustin? You can do yours, and then I'll do mine since I just mentioned Patrick.
oh, I was actually gonna say I'm looking at the overlay on Discord right now, and everybody's got their pronouns except Cole, who's just the mundane. So
He's just
Oh, is
regular.
it? I'm sorry. That might have
no,
been.
no,
Oh, no.
no. You're okay. I think it's funny because I don't know. That's just because I was like, all right, everybody's got because I had to remind myself of everybody's pronouns except for Cole's because I know Cole's. And then I looked at that. I'm like, Cole's chosen pronouns are the/mundane.
Yep.
Yep.
It was an error in
Yep.
exporting the overlay for today. I apologize. It will be fixed for the next one for sure.
It's perfectly fine.
Yeah, it's all good.
He, they, big surprise there.
Yep.
We're almost
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
He, they.
Yeah, it's
It's all
gonna
he
find
days.
they.
Except for
Oops.
Fig.
Oops, all
Um,
he, they.
So,
What?
to get us back on track here, for season 2, we have changed some of the logistical aspects of the stream. First, we are reining our sessions in to be around 3 to 3.5 hours instead of kind of the 4 to 4.5 hours we did last season. I think Dustin's last session for our mystery, I think we went a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But that's definitely going to be the exception to the rule. Might happen like once a month or so. But with the intention of all of us getting more sleep, and you guys getting more not us time. It's a bad thing, actually. You should have more time with us.
Easier to watch
Give
on
it-
YouTube.
Yeah,
Anyway.
give time to catch up on VODs.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
We will also be taking a break after every mystery to give the cast, that's us, a bit of a break, and the audience, that's you guys, time to catch up. The first instance of that was last week, so I hope you enjoyed your week off. Hope you used it wisely.
I played Digimon. Anyways, along with those updates, we also have new character art for season 2. Once again, drawn by, as we mentioned before, the incredible Patrick Costa, who you can follow on Instagram and Twitter at PCInc_. We're also working towards expanding our channel point prizes and our emotes here, which we talked about maybe a dog emote coming soon. Oh, behind the curtain, and on Discord as well as getting some captions available, both live and on YouTube for those, just to make sure that we're as accessible as we possibly can. We're working on that. We'll do what we can.
And all of these updates and changes would not be possible without you guys at home. I see you there, sitting on that couch. I wish I was there. Oh gosh. Hi, Mom. I know you're either watching this now or later. And
Hi.
then you'll call me and talk to me about. I don't understand why you keep doing those silly voices, and I'm like, I don't know either.
Because you're good at them.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
They make people smile. That's good enough.
Well, I'd like to think so. Cool. Yeah. Once again, my mother was talking to me. Was like, I'm so confused by the subscribe button. I want to click it and donate and give money, please, so I can show my support. And I'm like, wow, mother, thank you so much. Another way to do that, of course, is the classic and also so good Twitch Prime sub, or you can just sub regularly if you don't give Daddy Bezos your money.
Good plan.
Already, and if you want to give a little bit of that money that you would normally give to Big Mr. Bays, you can give a little bit of that to us, which is cool. I think for me, I think it's fun. It helps us, do all the things we want to do, and just, it's cool to show your support, and I appreciate you. And so yeah, use your sub. I just did, I think. Yeah. So yeah, do that. Remember, and also if you've subbed previously, remember you have to renew it every month. You get one free sub every month. I think that's good to also mention is sometimes I forget. And so yeah, so here's my reminder. If you haven't subbed in a while or in a month, do it right now, please. I'm begging. Please, I'm on my knees. Please, please, please.
If you've been watching the Vox Machina series, you have Amazon Prime, right? Because I'm pretty sure that's the only way you can watch it right now.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Is that correct? So,
and if you give us so many subs, maybe we'll have an animated series.
maybe.
Yep.
I can't wait. It's gonna be very funny. We're gonna get Danny DeVito to voice most of the cast. I'm really excited to see where Danny DeVito takes Ren.
Oh yeah.
You know, after watching Vox Machina, we decided, you know, it's too nice to have the actual people who played the characters voice them.
Yeah.
And so we're going to go a different route. So please
Yeah.
subscribe.
We are not professional voice actors.
Yeah. And then we're going to hire Patrick Stewart to voice the poop emoji. So
the classic
Sir
character
Patrick
of this season.
Stewart.
Hell yeah.
So, I'm really bummed that the conversation topic changed because Chris kept talking about subs and being on your knees, and I was trying, like, racking my brain how to, like, segue that into what I had to say, and I really came up with nothing. But I've said what I wanted to say anyway. And I'm not going to explain it because people's parents watch this, apparently. Speaking of... Wait. No. Nope. We're just gonna read what's on the page. We also would like to plug the 2 home brew playbooks that we are using this season. I am playing Fig. They're it's completely short-circuited my brain, apparently. My brain wants to say the bad thing, making it say the good thing instead, and it's like not having it.
You can tell all of us later. It's fun.
Yeah.
I am playing The Tracker. It is a playbook by Mike Keck, and Saul is playing The Amnesiac, which is by Jason Burns. You can find their respective links in the chat, and also Jason Burns has a Twitter, which is @JabmanB. You would like to tell them about how much you love Arthur as a very cool sword guy.
He is a very cool sword guy.
You should.
Agreed. TurnTables cast has 1 brain cell today. Correct.
We've got 1 brain cell today, and it is just bouncing around like wild.
I've got my own. They're just not listening. They're here.
Speaking of brain cells not listening, definitely also want to give a shout out to the Reflections of Chaos crew, who I play with on Wednesdays. We play a D&D charity game. It's a lot of fun. Tomorrow, actually, we won't be playing D&D, but we will be streaming Castle Crashers as we kind of like have we're also doing a little break before we go on to our next arc. And it's a lot of fun. Feel free to follow us at twitch.tv/Aurelia. If one of my fellow cast members or a mod could put in !Ari, that should bring it up in the chat. But we usually stream between, I believe it's like around, we're pretty consistently stream like around 5:30 p.m. Central Time. So feel free to come on by and say hello. And I believe we are going to be very soon continuing our campaign with the Trevor Project, which is very good because we want to continue supporting LGBTQ youth in the country. So yeah, that's Reflections of Chaos. Mars, I think you got something. You got something new.
I have things. Two of them. One of them is update on old thing. I did art for a game that was not my own game, called Clever Girl, and it did the version. It released today, like the online version, PDF version. Released today, the full like formatted and edited and like final version released today. So if you bought Clever Girl on itch.io, you can do that. You automatically get the update, and then if you backed it on Kickstarter, you should be getting an email sometime with information about how to like have a code to redeem to get it, and it's really cool. I'm really happy with the art I did on it. I got to draw dinosaurs, so
Hell yeah.
that's good. In terms of other games I have done, I did a game once. Once upon a time, I did a game. It's a game about being a bug. And you're. I mean, technically, it's about being an invertebrate, but bug is. Trying that again. I'm going off on tangents. I did a game. I released it on itch finally after months of procrastinating. It's called Beyond Genesis because it's about being a bug who's using the exoskeleton of another bug as a mech. So it's like Neon Genesis, but with bugs. There's the link in chat, and
Yes,
also
it is.
it's going to be part of a bundle that'll start soon for raising money for trans people in Texas. So that's cool. I will share the link on Twitter when that bundle launches. Everyone who's in the bundle has to approve it. And there's over 300 creators in the bundle, including Evil Hat, I know, is in it. Who's the people who make Monster of the Week and Thirsty Sword Lesbians. Possum Creek Games is in it, who did Wander Home and Sleep Away. And I went through the list today, but there's like 300 creators, so I can't remember anyone else, but I am also in it, so that's cool. The end of my rant.
Excellent. Now, word for word, Dustin.
Okay. Feel free to follow my stream as well. I'm devilishly handsome and a joy to watch. Twitch.tv/Valor6. The reason I shouted TVs because it's in all caps for some reason. But yeah, so I've not streamed since last Tuesday. I'm also at Valor6 on Twitter, so go to Twitter and pester me to stream because like I need the push to do the
I
thing.
got you, homie.
Doing it right now live.
Right now. Dustin, why aren't you streaming more Digimon?
Yeah, I need to. I'm a fan of Digimon. It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to stream more with you nerds at some point as well, soon. Because it's just more fun with more people.
Agreed.
It was really fun when you streamed Digimon last week, and the Mars and Chris decided to do some improv, and I prompted them from chat with, if it's the heart of the cards, what are the other body parts for other games? And then at some point it involved both of them pretending to be Seto Kaiba singing All Star by Smash Mouth. I don't know how we got from point A to B to C, but at some point Dustin was like back, and he was just letting it happen. He was just like, chaotic. This is the Chris and Mars show now.
Yeah.
I was eating dinner with my mic muted, just watching.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's truly a blessing when you can join a Digimon stream and just talk about Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah.
For a good, I think, an hour at least.
Yeah. It was an interesting time because I was there and I know nothing about Digimon, so I was just making shit up. And also talking about how all the characters are gender. They're good character designs.
Agreed.
Speaking of good character design.
Hell yeah, good trend.
I don't know.
Good.
I do a little bit of this design thing. I have a digital portfolio of things that you can look at. Some stuff such as I have a few animations based off of season 1 of Turntables RPG you can feast your eyes upon. I want to do more. I'm working on a return to OE thing.
Hell yeah.
But
Ooh.
and I have photography, graphic design, digital art, traditional art. If you have an art fancy, by George, I'll try to tickle it. And so please click that link oh so sensually in the chat, and please, if you want me to make something for you, I'll do it, please.
Just tickle that link and he'll tickle your art fancy.
Hey,
Going
Chris,
well. I think this is
a
going
legitimate question, actually. So, are you open for commissions then? Like, if someone were to come to you with a request for art or something.
Yeah, I would like to be. I don't know. I don't know what good pricing is. So so that's the one prob. I want to do
I've
one of
got
those graphics things.
$5.
Yeah.
What can I get for this many?
$5. I'll keep drawing Zach the Possum, the mascot of Big ZDs, in various positions.
Oh no!
Okay.
So
I was gonna ask if you'd like to elaborate, but I don't think I want that.
Cool.
Okay.
End of announcement. Thank you all, everyone, so much for doing that. Thank you.
Can we get the Big ZDs emote in chat?
Yeah, let's get the big ZD's emo in chat just
No,
to
I don't want it. I don't want to
put a
see
period
it.
in
For
everything.
fans of Zach the
now.
Possum.
Cool. On a more serious note, everyone, the world is crazy right now, and we just want to take a moment real fast to quickly say, fuck Vladimir Putin, fuck Greg Abbott, fuck the Florida governor, and our hearts go out to everyone who is currently being affected by the terrible actions of these terrible men, and we just want to know that we stand in support of them, of the people who are affected. So thank you for joining us tonight. And unless anybody has anything else to add, I think we can go ahead and jump into the intro. Anybody? No? Fantastic. Maestro, if you could hit me with something slow and spooky, please.
Maestro.
Let's see.
Brain just thought about little like mice in a boat rowing.
Yes.
Chris,
Row.
hit me with some rats in a boat, please.
You just
Me
said
with
you
some
didn't
little
want me to
guys.
draw rodents.
Possum's not a rat. I don't think possums
a
are
rodent,
rodents,
isn't
actually.
it?
They're marsupials.
No, they're marsupials.
Yep. It's the only marsupial thing in these United States.
Oh.
Love
Okay, anyway,
possums.
sorry.
They're so
Do the spooky intro.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Spooky time.
All right. Thank you, everyone. All right. We open on a small residential street within the town of Fogwell. The full moon is high in the sky, its pale light casting a dim glow on the rooftops below. It's a surprisingly clear night. The fog that often rolls in from the coast is clinging to the deep recesses of the arboreal curtain that separates this neighborhood from the sea. This is not suburbia. There are no fences between houses. There's no community pool. And for a certain lucky few, the forest is practically their backyard. We zoom in on one of those lucky few homes, whose backyard is a 10-yard stretch from their back door to the very first western hemlock tree. 2-story, painted light blue, we move inside and find the house dark, except for 3 lights. The first light belongs to the small night light in the foyer. Its small bulb casts a warm glow over the foot of the stairs and outlines a living room filled with gifts, stuffed animals, a car seat, and several stacks of baby clothes. The second light belongs to the woman upstairs. She lays on her side, staring at the tablet sitting on her nightstand. On the screen is a live feed of the nursery. She watches as her husband finishes adjusting the camera, sends her a kiss through it, and goes to check on the crib one more time. The third light doesn't belong to anyone within the house. It's already been introduced. The pale light of the full moon falls softly into the nursery. An ivory spotlight on the tiny baby sound asleep in their crib. The father, like his wife, in his late 30s, leans down and softly kisses the babe on the forehead. Upstairs, the mother holds her breath. The baby shuffles. The father freezes post-kiss. But the baby doesn't wake up. The father sighs softly and gives his wife a thumbs up through the camera before walking out of the nursery and softly closing the door. He walks past the living room filled with gifts, turns the corner in the foyer, and begins walking up the stairs. The wood creaks underneath his feet as his long shadow travels ahead of his silhouette. He quietly opens the door to the bedroom and steps inside. We finally get them to sleep, and you pull that shit? His wife smiles at him. You play too much. You pull that stuff, the husband corrects her. He takes his slippers off and crawls into bed, snuggling up behind his wife and wrapping his arms around her. We have to cut back on the cursing. Okay. The wife smiles knowingly, kissing her husband, who's too good at deflecting. The husband closes his eyes, and as the wife turns back to the baby monitor and watches the dim feed of the baby's nursery. Sooner than expected, her eyes close. Sometime later, the clock on the baby monitor reads midnight, and the house is very still. The first light in the foyer is still. The second light on the tablet is still. But the third light, the light of the full moon, is not still. The light which had spotlighted the baby grows narrow. The shadows at its edges creep in, making the room stretch and expand like the intake of a breath and the lungs before a sharp plunge into deep waters. The moon is large outside the window. It almost looks as though its width covers the entirety of the horizon. A fell wind begins to blow through the leaves of the forest, and we watch the fog slowly creep out of the woods and into the neighborhood. Slowly but surely, stronger and stronger, the wind begins to blow, the trees swaying violently in its wake. The window to the nursery begins to shake. The bones of the house creak and moan as they strain against the mighty gale, but upstairs, the parents in their room sleep tidy and hale. In the baby monitor, we see the windows straining to stay closed. And for a split moment, the feed cuts. White noise. For 1, 2, 3. No more wind. All is quiet. The feed returns. The baby lays asleep in their crib. The only sign of disturbance being the nursery window, which now sits just slightly ajar. Welcome to Monster of the Week.
song named Noodle on it.
Well,
The intro played all the way through.
We
Yay!
did it!
Thank goodness for little miracles. Fantastic. All right. Well, again, welcome to Turntables RPG. Does anyone want to help me recap where we left off at the end of Dustin's Mystery?
I can help.
Dope. So again, the introductory mystery starts with all of us kind of like all the characters beginning to kind of like congregate together at the library, which is where Dustin's character, Cole Van Helsing, works. They were brought together because Cole had found or had discovered that the police had found a dead body on the beach. And through a course of several events, we found ourselves at the morgue where the body went missing, which is a staple of Dustin's keepership, which I will never get tired of. And upon that, at the end of that second session, we were on our way to the graveyard, because at that point we had discovered that after going to a fishing shack after a clairvoyant vision from Arthur, we had found fresh tire marks and a like messed up fish shack with lots of kind of like disparate clues. So we decided to follow it to the graveyard. Mars, will you tell us what happened at the graveyard?
Some weird shit.
Agreed.
There was a guy
All right.
there, and he was doing a chanting to summon a ghost, or like trap a ghost, summon and then trap. A ghost who had been killed. Well, the ghost hadn't been killed. The woman who made up the ghost had been killed off the Fogwell lighthouse 50 years ago. And they now kind of blamed her for these vengeful deaths, or these deaths that they believe to be vengeful, and ghost guys shot at the party, but everything was fine. And then they went out to the beach, and Fig tried to swim, and then the guy tried to swim. I forget the guy's name.
Captain.
Yes.
I believe it's he actually has a name. We just called him the captain.
Yeah.
Well, his nickname is the captain, according to
himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is not actually a captain. Other people call him captain.
Yeah. And then there was a banshee, and we fought a banshee. And then Ren tried to do a brain thing. And it was a magical brain thing, and it didn't end well for Arthur.
Correct. And I think it was a siren. Although
Did I say that?
They had similar properties.
My brain was saying siren, but I guess I did not say siren out loud.
No, you're good.
Siren and Banshee are like kind of two sides of a similar coin.
Agreed.
Yeah. What is a siren if not a ocean banshee?
Ocean Banshee. It's my new band name.
Nice.
Call it
That's a
Can't
good
Have
band
It.
name.
Fine.
That's a pretty good band name, actually.
Yes, I actually am going to consult with all of you because since we finished a little bit late last time, I used one of my character's moves, used the whole buffalo to make ammo out of the siren's bones. But I don't remember what the tag was for that.
Yep, I'm looking at the tags right now that I
don't remember. I can go back and watch the VOD, but I did not write down what it was, assuming probably that future Masha would remember what tag we picked. We recorded the conversation. It just won't be able to
I know
use
it was
the ammo.
magic. I think it was restraining because I was thinking like fishnets.
That sounds right to me.
Sounds right.
I remember magic.
And I think there was a third one, but I don't quite remember.
I don't think so, because I can only have hold 2.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. Magic
Well,
and restraining makes sense.
there you
We'll
go.
call it that.
Yeah.
If it's wrong, it's wrong.
Very cool. Okay.
Yeah.
So, as per the end of the last mystery, it's been maybe, we'll say like 2 weeks since your encounter with the siren. Arthur has not woken up. The emergency center in Fogwell is not equipped to handle or to manage having an unconscious patient for a long amount of time. So they were transferred to Whitebridge, which you all know it lies about 20 minutes to the north following the coast. And though whether you have gone to Whitebridge, you can decide amongst yourselves. We can for sure, probably say that maybe Cole has been. But that you all know that the only actual hospital in this county resides within Whitebridge, and that is now where Arthur lies. And my adult brain is like, where's that insurance coming from, fam? But fictional games, so let's just toss that to the side.
I was about to say maybe Ren has insurance and they were just doing a little insurance fraud, but Ren definitely doesn't have insurance. They were a snake for 20 years.
Yeah. Very fair. So with that, I think I will let's see here. I've kind of reached out to mostly everyone and kind of given and we've talked a little bit about what y'all characters would be doing at the yeehaw, kind of like on an afternoon where they would find themselves by themselves. But first, we will start with a van on the highway. On one side, the forest. On the other side, the foggy coast. Dustin, would you describe your van for us again? I just love hearing about it.
Yes. So it is an old-fashioned work van. It's a darker color. The vast majority of the van itself is kind of I'm trying to think of the term. Like not black, but like black blue, like a very, very, very dark blue. And painted on the side with the door is a large smoking mountain ? He picked it up in Tennessee, so it's probably one of the Smokies, part of the Smoky Mountains. But yeah, and it's a not so professional job. Like it's not like the best painting in the world for you. It was an old van used to haul coal in Kentucky when he picked it up. So once again, I will say it is Cole's Cole Van Helsing, because he calls his Van Helsing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's Cole's Van Helsing. It's Cole's Cole Van Helsing.
That kind of had like a little bit of a cadence to it. Now I want to kind of like take that audio clip and put like a little beat underneath it and like make a little thing.
Do it, I dare you. Then I'll do it live.
Okay, fair enough. So within Cole's van, we find Cole at the wheel, and Ren in the passenger seat. The two of you are heading up the coast, the 20-minute drive to Whitebridge, to visit Arthur in the hospital. The windows are slightly cracked because it is early March and the air is pleasantly chilly enough to where it's not completely unbearable, but it does help with a little bit of the humidity that you find in these kinds of areas close to the coast. So the two of you are together in the van. What are you doing?
Does Cole know what he's doing? I guess Cole is
Like
driving.
Yeah.
Does Cole know how to drive? Interesting question.
Hey, does Cole know what he's doing?
To any of
I
us.
think
Ren's a backseat driver.
no. Red
Canon.
doesn't know how to drive. They probably do. I can't feel like we've discussed this before and they don't, but I don't remember. But I think they've like just been carrying around 2 swords with them because Arthur can't have sword in hospital. And Ren's like, I can't just leave Arthur's sword because it's important to him. So Ren, I think, is sitting and like their sword is kind of strapped to their back, and then Arthur's sword they're like holding, and they're just kind of like fidgeting with the pommel and the guard, just kind of like holding it. And I think they're just kind of quiet.
One of 2 things is happening with Cole. Obviously, he's driving, and he's either talking about and like maybe asking questions or making observations, or he's got a podcast going that is all about like legends and myths. Check out podcast Myths and Legends. It's actually a really good podcast that goes over legends around the world. It's really good. I recommend it. It's real. Like this isn't Cole talking. This is a real thing that I recommend.
I just imagine the podcast being like, and so I feel like there's actual significant evidence that the frog platypus is real and is in local areas.
Actually, if that is happening, Cole's commenting on it as he's driving too.
Mm-hmm.
He's
What's
just
the
like,
name of the podcast again, so I can type it in chat?
Myths and Legends. Very easy to remember.
I thought it was gonna be the quest space with the McDonald brothers.
I'm not familiar with that.
They have another podcast called My Sibling, and Me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah. A relation, and myself. My favorite podcast.
Correct.
By the Morkbork.
By the
Pals.
Morkbork. Pals. That's a good podcast name. Copyright
When
that.
you say the name, you have to add the space in there. The Morkbork Pals.
Yeah.
When they were branding themselves, they accidentally typed an extra space when applying to the government to be considered a business. And so now they have to
legally you have to.
If you type in just the one space, you go to the wrong website. Someone bought the other way. I'm gonna
because spaces can be used in URLs.
Very good.
Yeah, I make internet websites.
So
smart.
I think at a certain point, you're going down the highway, and you pass by this patch. You don't really see where the smell is coming from, but you get like a strong whiff of the ocean, and the 2 of you sharply remember your battle with the siren, or the battle with the siren, just like 2 weeks before, and we'll say as the 2 of you kind of like casually like look at each other and are about to kind of like chat about it, you hear a whoop whoop, and you see red and blue lights flashing behind you as a vehicle, as a cruiser is pulling up behind the 2 of you, calling you to pull over.
Just remembered Ren has 2 swords on them right now. Sorry, officer, we're not doing anything suspicious here. The passenger just has 2 swords.
It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Do you pull over?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
If this just turns into a car chase, it's the whole mystery.
Cole is weird. He's not insane.
Okay, so y'all pull over, and Cole, you see through the rearview mirror that is not a police cruiser. It's the sheriff's cruiser. You see a singular man, kind of like in his late 50s, kind of step out of the vehicle. He takes off his sheriff's cap and kind of puts it on the top of the vehicle, and begins. Did I just hear a door close?
No, that was me setting my water bottle down too close to the microphone.
I was like, Chris, what? This is the sound effects. He puts the hat on the top of the vehicle, begins walking over. You see that he's got kind of like thin graying hair that's slicked back, except he's got these coarse, super red mutton chops that like are on his sides. It's like the one part of his head that's like still has like vibrant color are these mutton chops. And he's got his little aviators on, and he walks up and he kind of like, leans up against the. Have you lowered the windshield or the window?
He kicks out the windshield.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I would almost say that he had it down almost that way anyway.
He kind of like sets an elbow in. He's like, well. Look who we got here.
Hi, Sheriff.
Hi, Cole. Do you know why I pulled you over?
No, can't say I do. Not this time. Is my light out?
Nope, that's fine. And he kind of like, you see him kind of like reach over and he taps the registration on the window. And he's like, you're a month overdue on your registration sticker.
Oh, yeah.
This guy has eagle eyes.
This guy sucks.
Ren is sliding down in their seat.
I think at this point he like notices you. He's like, oh, sorry. You got a
Hello.
friend. That's new.
People say that a lot.
Good for you, Cole. Now, I've been having kind of a wild day. So, are you gonna get this fixed? Or
Yeah,
are we
wild
gonna have
day?
to make this? Yeah, sheriff business.
Inside Cole's mind, he's saying, don't mention donuts, don't mention donuts, don't mention donuts, don't mention donuts. Oh, yeah? Any disappearing bodies this time?
And this is like, again, he's wearing his reflective aviators, so you're only like, he's staring at
Yeah.
you and you're like seeing like the upside down reflection of your face, and he's just kind of like watching you. He's chewing on something, you don't know what, and he just kind of like sets his jaw and he's like, I don't know if I want to tell you, Cole. You have a bad habit of getting into places you shouldn't be.
What? I'm just going to the hospital.
Oh,
I am
God.
also an adult who can vouch for him.
Oh, yeah?
And keep him under control.
Have you hidden the sword?
I don't think Arthur would be able to, or Ren would be able to hide Arthur's sword without like having to like lean down and like lay it like in the compartment of the door, and Ren's sword is strapped onto his back.
Right.
So no, I don't think Ren has hidden the sword.
You're telling me that Ren is sitting in a car
Yeah.
with like a sword against their back?
That sounds
Like-
super uncomfortable.
Like that can't be like you got some fucking. We gotta get
It's
you
like-
a
it's like a-
therapist,
it's like-
homie.
Yeah, it's like
It's like,
having a
I mean,
backpack.
it's not a long sword, so it like would sit like they're definitely not like leaning against the seat comfortably, but like if
Oh,
they're
but then
sitting
they're
a little
leaning
bit forward,
Oh,
like-
that still feels uncomfortable for your posture. I'm just emphasizing as someone with
Like-
horrible back pain.
Just imagining like you get rear-ended and you have to like slam backwards into your chair, and then you just have this like sickle shape in your back now.
yeah, probably. I mean, is it the smartest decision? No, but Ren needs to figure out how to carry around two swords
Was-
now.
Was Ren captive by a big old snake guy for 20 years? Yes.
Yeah, they've dealt with some discomfort.
Cole, you do recognize this is Sheriff Lester.
Yeah.
And you see him kind of like he takes his aviators as he looks over at Ren, who's just said that they're a responsible adult with the sword on their lap, and you see him kind of like pull down the aviators a little bit to like look at your lap, Ren, and kind of look back up to you, and he pulls them back up and he says, "You have a permit for that?"
As far as I'm aware, you don't need a permit. I do like martial arts, like HEMA stuff. So I like it. I've never had to have a permit before, and I've been doing it for a long time.
He just kind of like he like grunts and kind of like nods slightly and like looks at you, and then like without prompting, he just kind of like taps Cole on the shoulder. And he's like, "Didn't you do martial arts back in the day?" I feel like
I still do.
Yep. Mm-hmm. We'd see this kid running around town, you know, doing crane kicks and back heel steps, and you know, was that my grandkid sent me as a TikTok, YouTube, Vine. I don't know what it is these days, but it's the power of God and anime on my side. And he does the little pose. And then he kind of like starts leaning back on the windshield or on the door.
Oh, that's a Zeetzok.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the Big ZD's brand app.
the newest installment of Big ZD's social media apps. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Ren is nodding because they definitely know things about social media. That was definitely sarcasm. I think Ren only knows about YouTube and Tumblr.
I'll say at this point, it looks like the sheriff's about to say something, and then you hear static, and he's getting a call on his radio, and he just kind of like holds up a finger to you all and steps like a couple feet back behind the van, and you see him unhook and just like click on the walkie, and he's like, "Lester here." And it's very garbled, but you pick up, or Cole, you're close enough to where you hear bound, another, and then everything else is just really bad static. But you see Lester kind of bring up the walkie again. 10-4, on my way. And he clicks the walkie, walks back up, and he's like, he sticks his head back in and taps the registration sticker one more time. He says, "Get this updated sooner rather than later. Okay, son?"
Sure thing. I'll do it on Monday.
Okay. And he kind of looks over at Ren and then back at you, and he says, "Y'all have a good day now." And he kind of like begins to make his way back over to the cruiser.
Be safe, Sheriff.
Mm-hmm. He gets in, closes the door, and with a final whoop whoop, he does a U-turn and starts speeding back towards the direction of Fogwell.
Cole slowly turns his head to look at Ren.
Ren lets out like a massive sigh and like loosens the tension in their shoulders and looks at Cole.
They said they found something.
We were already on our way to somewhere. Do you think the something can wait?
I don't know.
I mean, you are the driver here. I would also not recommend immediately turning around to follow a sheriff, because that is extremely suspicious behavior.
A cab.
Correct.
Dustin, let me ask you a question.
What's up?
I get the feeling as though Cole would be one of those individuals that has like a police scanner.
Oh, he does.
Does he have one in the van, or is it like back in
I honestly, he probably has like 4.
Okay.
Like he's got one in the van, one in his bedroom, one in his bathroom, and then a backup just in case one of them breaks.
Okay.
His bathroom.
Then
Listen,
do me a
won't
favor.
listen this
yeah.
time.
Dustin, go ahead and roll me 2d6 plus sharp. Just
Oh,
no
okay.
move, just plus sharp.
Cool. 2d6 plus sharp.
Yes, sir.
Sounds good. I'm great at that. So that's going to be 6 plus 1,
Mm-hmm.
which is 7, and plus my sharp, which is -1, which brings it to a 6.
No!
Excellent. Okay, again, this is not a basic move. The only reason I asked you to roll this was to kind of test your memory a bit. Something's nagging at you, kind of like at the back of your mind. You listen to the police scanner a lot over the course of like the past couple of months in and of themselves, and you feel like you should know what has the sheriff kind of like all up in a tizzy. You know, like you should know like why he's stressed. Like it's nagging at you, it's on the tip of your tongue, but for the life of you can't remember. Something's been happening. It's been consistent, even if it's been somewhat spread out, but it's been consistent. And like right now, you just, for the life of you can't remember it.
If Cole can't figure out anything about that, can Ren roll? Well, can I roll Ren's beginning of mystery move?
Sure. Yeah, tell me what it is.
It is Destiny's Plaything. At the beginning of each mystery, roll plus weird to see what is revealed about your immediate future. On a 10+, the keeper will reveal a useful detail about the coming mystery. On a 7 to 9, you get a vague hint about it. On a miss, something bad is going to happen to you.
Okay.
We're getting rear-ended. Let's go.
Woo! Hey, we're not getting rear-ended. That's an 8 plus 2 is a 10.
Nice.
I was real worried I was rolling the crit show dice.
Nice. So that means you get to hold 2?
It just means that you reveal a useful detail about the coming mystery.
Okay.
Which is super vague, but
it is super vague. Okay. So y'all just saw, like, you can see the faint dot of the sheriff's vehicle at the far end of the road. Like he peeled away. He was gunning it. There's like, he's very far away now, essentially, is the idea. Cole, as you're sitting there and you're trying to like remember Ren, you kind of like take a moment. You're not driving, so there's like no, there's nothing really to do except to wait for Cole to start back on the road. And you turn and you look at over on the forest side of things, and you watch as a man steps out of the forest line, clothes ripped to shreds. There's blood on like 70% of his body, mostly from his arms, and you just kind of see him step out, look around dazed, and then just fall down to the ground unconscious.
Ren's hopping out of the car.
Cool. And on that note, Masha, Chris, go ahead and roll me a d6. Whoever rolls highest goes next. 4.
3.
All right. Fun. So, Fig.
It's me.
You and I talked a little bit earlier about what you think Fig would be doing in Fogwell on an afternoon by themselves. Would you like to tell us and the audience where Fig finds themselves on this lovely afternoon?
Yeah. Do you want me to like name a place? Like give it a name, a proper name?
Sure, if you want to.
So I think not every afternoon, but I think that Fig will occasionally frequent a local kind of like old school cafe / diner Not because she needs the company, because she doesn't really care for other people very much, but because the coffee that they make is better than what she can make herself. And sometimes treating yourself to a better cup of coffee, good Wi-Fi, and the newest newspaper is good for you. So, you would all, or whomever is looking for Fig, would find her in a booth at the back of this cafe with a nice hot cup of coffee and a cinnamon roll and the name of the cafe. Cafe naming is hard. I think it's just like, did you have an idea, Saul? For
No,
name of the
I'm
cafe?
waiting. I'm waiting in anticipation.
I think no, I'm trying to come up with something good, but it's not happening. So I think that it's just the Ocean View Cafe.
I like that.
Probably already exists. Like the vaguest name possible. Anyone's wondering what I've got going on, it's raisins.
Nice. Yes, so we'll say so you are sitting in the Ocean View Cafe, and it's a pretty cute cafe. Like it's smaller than like one of like the mega Starbucks and stuff like that. But instead, there are like small booths and tables, but there is like an area where there's like a couch and some sitting chairs where you can sit and like, you know, set your coffee aside to read and things of that nature. They are playing kind of like a soft alternative on the speakers right now at a low volume, you know.
Yeah.
And there's currently one employee behind the counter, and pretty much it's just you, Fig. Like you found the right time on the right day, and it's just you by yourself with this employee kind of cleaning down the counter, cleaning the machines, things of that nature. You have a new friend, don't you?
Well, he's always been here.
Mm-hmm.
But so, as you can see from my character art here, there we go. Thank you, Patrick Costa.
Yes.
At _PC Inc. for your fabulous art. Fig has a little pine marten as an animal companion. With my level up, I took an improvement from the tracker that is gain an animal companion. They count as an ally bodyguard, motivation to intercept danger. So basically now, instead of just having this little guy for like flavor text, or just I guess just for flavor, not text, he can now actually like involve himself in mysteries, and no one is allowed to hurt my special little boy, and if you do, I will end you. But yeah, so I assume for the most part that he would be kind of like hiding out in I have like a big bag that I've put next to me on the seat, and I just kind of like feed him crumbs of a little snack as time goes on. And no doubt the people who work here have seen him and kind of just let it slide, because this is a small town and people bring their like big old slobbery dogs in here. So, you know, a little creature that's minding his own business is not going to cause any problem.
Definitely. We'll say, how long do you think that or how long does Fig usually stay at the cafe for?
Probably like 2 hours. 1 to 2 hours.
And
however long you need her to.
Fair enough. And so does Fig get anything else other than coffee, like a pastry or something?
I think she would get a pastry. Probably. Yeah, just a couple of pastries. Something species appropriate for her little guy. Some kind of like raw meat on a platter is probably what pine martens eat. I didn't research it yet. Just something for him to eat.
Yeah.
That is not just a raw beef on a plate.
Yeah, definitely fair. So it's been a pretty much a quiet afternoon. By the point in which your extra snack for your little buddy is pretty much down to its last crumbs, you feel your little buddy actually slip out of the backpack and kind of like wind his way through your jacket, climb up your back, and just kind of like cradle you around your neck. And you can actually feel that they are trembling a bit. And as soon as that, like, you kind of like feel that sensation on your neck, you look out the window and you see there's 2-3 people running in a hurry, all in the same direction to the Oceanside Cafe. Kind of sits on the outside of the town square a little bit, and so you see them that they're running to the opposite side of the square, like all in a very like rushed hurry. And you do see, you've been very kind of like engrossed in your quiet time, but on the other side of the square there is the flashing lights of a police cruiser there.
I am going to kind of like physically try to calm down my little guy by patting him and like whispering to him that things will be okay. And I think, not in any kind of rush or anything, I am going to stand up, gather my belongings, take my like dishes to a little like bus station, and walk that way because I want to know what's going on.
Okay. As you step outside, you know, it's a surprisingly sunny day, very few clouds in the sky. You take a stroll across the square, and under normal circumstances, this would be a great afternoon to just kind of like put out like a picnic blanket, sit down, read a book, or, you know, listen to a busker who's playing out in the street and stuff like that. Like, it's just seems like a very calming afternoon. As you pass on to the other side of the square, you see a scene. There is a female officer who's kind of like keeping people back and holding them back, and people are kind of like looking over each other's shoulders and things of that nature. But there's enough of a gap that you can see that there is a tarp tossed over something on the ground, and you can see that the tarp itself is, or I say a tarp, it's more like canvas, and you can see that the canvas is quickly being soaked through with blood, but it's sitting there just like on the edge of the square, and you can see that there's an individual sitting on the curb with like a blanket over their shoulders, and another officer, a man in his like early 50s, questioning another individual, kind of like maybe 10-15 feet apart. That's the scene that you come upon. Is there anything that you'd like to do? Do you want to stay back and see what happens? Do you want to get a closer look? What do you want to do, Fig?
I do better when things have kind of chilled out, because I do better with like following trails and not interacting with people. So I'm going to keep my distance, but also seeing that blood is kind of soaking through this canvas, just kind of casually look around and see if there is a trail of blood to follow.
Oh yeah, good call. Yeah, as you're kind of like walking behind the crowd, I'll say your eyes go from the tarp, and begin kind of scanning the area around, and you find like matted grass, a trail of matted grass, and like a trail of blood leading from what seems like the sidewalk to that area. And it's like, you know, the course of the trail itself is like total maybe like 15 feet, but it winds, it curves, it jumps from places and things of that nature. Trying to think. I'm trying to see whether or not I should make you roll investigate a mystery, or if you should, I think, you know what? I'm going to say you just know this. Because you're a tracker, and you've, I think we can all agree that you've observed animals, and you know, like, interactions between animals are probably very similar to you. You can tell that from the way that the trail is very erratic, and the distance in which it is from just the sidewalk to that space. It seems like two pets went at it and killed one another in a frenzy. Now, normally you would see this more kind of like in the wild as opposed to domesticated animals. But you have a sinking suspicion that underneath that tarp are the corpses of two dogs.
Okay. That is definitely very weird.
I'll say as you're scanning, you begin to hear raised voices, and you look over and you see that the individual who's being questioned by the officer is kind of like, he's talking, but he's like talking, yelling at the person who's sitting on the curb. He's like, if Gil had just controlled his dog, we wouldn't be in this situation. We wouldn't have to deal with this right now. And you see Gil, like, again, just as how we mentioned earlier, you've studied animals, so you understand the body language of a hostile creature. You see Gil's body tense up underneath the blanket. He rises, and almost by like magnetism, you watch the individual with the officer knock the officer aside. The officer hits the ground. Their head hits the ground, and they do not rise. And the two men just lock horns. They charge one another, and begin fighting, brawling in the street. And you hear the crowd like begin to yell, and the officer, the woman, kind of like leaves the crowd and goes immediately to the two men to try and separate them, and like force them apart. Is there anything that you want to do?
Oh boy. I am not the kind of person to really get involved, but this shit's whack. So I think that I would pull my rifle off of my shoulder. I assume I just have it on me, which is kind of, I don't know. It's the same as
Open
the sword
carry laws
situation,
in Washington?
right? I don't. Probably not. I don't know.
It's fine. You can have your rifle on you.
What I want to do is just like fire a round of my gun, like into the air, not into people, like into the air.
Either way, this is not a great situation. Because
in the movies, whenever you want two people to stop fighting, you blow a whistle or whatever.
Yeah, in most situations, firing a gun really lowers the tension.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It gets people distracted, is what it does. Okay.
So you're trying to get them to stop, and you're firing your rifle to do so.
This is like the worst idea in the world.
Okay. I'm going to say go ahead and roll me manipulate someone, because you've given me a reason in the sense that you've shot your rifle, and hoping that will just cause everyone to freeze long enough for the situation to calm down.
I am not charming.
How's Fig's charm? Yeah.
Oh gosh, Fig just gets arrested for shooting into a crowd.
Probably. So I rolled. Sorry, I don't know my thing. So that's a 3. It's a 3 total because I have -1 charm. If you're listening to this and not watching, sorry, I rolled a 3 and a 1. Minus my 1 charm is 3 total.
Are we?
I will go ahead and mark experience.
Yes, please do.
Welcome to episode 4. Fig goes to jail. That's the mystery. Yeah. It's just us breaking Fig out of jail.
I'm into it.
Technically, I wouldn't get an experience for my roll earlier, right? Even though I did bad.
I think it's any roll under. Or
yeah, but it wasn't a move though, right?
I mean, if we want to, I think collectively, if we all want to decide that that counted, I think now's a good time. Do we want to go?
I'm cool with that counting because I think the wording, at least for my playbook, says whenever you roll and get a 6 or less.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm cool with it.
So go ahead and mark experience, Dustin, as well for earlier.
For selfish reasons where I don't want to be the one leveling up the fastest. Please let Cole have experience.
Yeah. Well, I just realized that I think that Sal will just target us with the opposite, because I think your sharp is really high, and Cole's charm is really high.
Yeah. Could have read a bad situation. Instead, shot a gun into the air and rolled 3.
That is true.
Like, I know that further away from 6 doesn't make it worse.
Mhm.
Like, mentally, I just feel worse that I'm, like, that far off of the threshold.
Okay, so you shoot off your rifle and it echoes, right? Like, this is a small town, the buildings are old, the sound of a rifle going off echoes. Everyone in the crowd stops. Like, the screaming, the yelling, people have kind of like pulled out their phones. They all kind of like stop and they look at you. And
this is going on Zeet Talk, man.
You hear another gunshot. And you look up and you see that the woman officer has pulled out her gun and she has shot it in the air while trying to separate these two. And the two men, like, because the shock, the ring of the blast is kind of like separates them for a moment. You see the woman take the gun and point it at you, and she says, "Drop your weapon."
God almighty.
And at that point, before we take our break, I would like to shift very quickly to Philip.
Oh my god, what a disaster.
Excellent stuff.
Good idea, Fig.
Gosh.
It works in movies, all right. Fig was having just chill vibes, and
It finishes cup of coffee. I think I'm gonna go shoot into the air.
TurnTables
She's a
has one brain
cowboy.
cell, and it's shared between all of us and all of our characters.
Excellent stuff. It's okay. So Philip, Chris, we also talked a little bit about what Philip would be doing on an afternoon by themselves. Would you like to tell us and the audience where we find Philip at this point in time?
Okay, I think for context, I think I feel like we'll jump back a few months. Just a quick scene where Philip's just getting used to civilized life, and he hears like this youngster sort of like being mean to an older gentleman who and is just like, what kind of stupid name is Fogwell? And the old man is like, you don't understand, boy. The legend and there's the legend. Fogwell is named for a very specific reason. There is a well of fog somewhere in the woods. Stay away from the woods, boy, for the well of fog. And Philip is just sort of like sitting nearby, I think like coloring in a coloring book and just sort of being like, and all of a sudden gets like dark voices filling his brain as he hears about the real Fogwell in the woods. And cut now to today, where Philip has been searching the woods for months or weeks, just trying to find the actual well of fog. And so we just sort of see him go deeper into this foggy woods as he floats around and is just sort of like, hello, any well of fog in here?
Yes. So again, you've do you think Philip would follow an old path that he's taken before, or would he try like something completely new?
I think there's a lot of, I don't think there's a lot of method to Philip, to Philip's madness. I think he's just sort of like, okay, I guess I'll walk in this direction, and at some point I'll make it out to the other side. And he sort of walks for a bit. Sometimes he'll stop and be like, oh, hello, Mr. Beetle. Do you know where the fog well is? The dark voices command me to find it.
Very cool. Okay, so then just to describe the woods a little bit, there are kind of like well-trodden paths, you know, maybe some like small paths that day hikers have taken before. In between those well-trodden paths, there's very full thickets. It's a mixture of Douglas firs, and alder trees, I think that's what they're called, and things of that nature. Very tall, kind of like coniferous trees. And there's always a wisp of fog somewhere, but the further in that you go, the denser it gets. There are times in which Philip has gone so far to where he's completely covered in fog. And those are the moments where, in any direction that he goes, he always finds himself walking out of the forest, never to the Fogwell. So we'll say at this point in time, Philip is kind of like maybe like waist deep in fog. Not completely, but like you can still see trees, you can still see the tops of the thicket. And you hear the sounds of someone crying here deep in the woods. And with that, we will take our 10-minute break, and we're going to come back with Philip and go in reverse order because I'm very interested to see what happens with Fig and the gang as well.
You and me both, my guy.
Cool. Thank you everyone for sticking with us this far. Please, feel free to take this time to go get yourself a snack, walk around, use the facilities, whatever you'd like. And we'll be back like around 8:41. And bring a snack with you for our snack check.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
See you soon.
Bye.
All right, y'all are good.
And we're back.
And we are back. I'm sure Masha will join us shortly. I'll go through real fast what I have brought back for my snack check, and they are Thin Mints.
Oh yeah.
So we went to San Antonio this weekend, where my in-laws live, and they had bought a shit ton of Girl Scout cookies, and so these specific Thin Mints are actually frozen in the freezer for a certain amount of time before eating them. This is my first time trying them, and they're pretty good. Thin Mints
Your first
frozen.
time trying Thin Mints?
No, first time trying Thin Mints like frozen in the freezer.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what we like. I started like my family would do that to keep them keep the Girl Scout cookies going for longer, and then eventually we were like, oh, frozen good. Yeah, and good food, good soup.
Good soup.
Good soup.
Does anybody else have something for a snack check?
I have chocolate milk with not enough chocolate syrup in it because we are running out.
I was like, that's some clean milk.
Yeah, it kind of just tastes like milk, but like with little tiny hint of chocolate, which is kind of disappointing. But I spent more time petting my dog than making myself a snack, which is unfortunate because I was hungry. But he's so cute. And then I grabbed yogurt. Wow, I feel like I have to do the thing. I bought Yoplait yogurt. It's peach yogurt, which is one of my two favorite types of yogurt.
Nice.
And definitely good food for eating on stream. That's it. That's my snacks.
Nice. Anybody else?
I grabbed a very good stream snack, salad. But I kind of yeah.
What
it's
kind
just
of
not
salad?
a good stream snack because it's got a lot going on. It is baby greens. I shredded a carrot, and there's turkey, and honey mustard dressing.
Nice.
That sounds good.
Shredded carrot's very good in salad because it kind of like sticks to everything, and so you get kind of that like crunchy sweetness with every bite, rather than I've had salads where it's like carrot spears and then you got to really put your fucking jaw to work because it's crunchy. So yeah, I got little carrot depositories out here.
I want to try that.
Or when they're the carrot circles and they just fall to the bottom, and then you're like, I didn't get any carrot in my salad.
You gotta shred it,
the
baby.
last person to get the salad is like, my salad all carrot, and I'm like, God, I wish to be you. Anyway, I like carrots.
Veggies are good, but I'm having the opposite of veggies right now. I'm having Mingy jerky, which is very, very good. It's my favorite jerky, and it's also only available here where I live. So you cannot go and buy it. Don't try it.
Rude.
But it's really good. And next time that I come to meet you guys, how many of you like jerky, actually, before I even say that?
I love jerky, but I don't eat meat anymore, and it constantly disappoints me.
I can't help you there. This is in fact beef jerky, but I will bring some the next time that we all meet up in person and share it, because I must spread the good news of Mingy jerky. And it is
a
Mingy.
lot of bad jerky, so
yeah, true. This is probably my favorite kind. They come with this is the original, but they've got teriyaki, they've got jalapeno, they got all kinds of different flavors. So
when you mean home, do you mean in your town, or do you mean in Kentucky?
In Kentucky. It's from Paris, Kentucky, which actually isn't that far away. Yeah, you say that, but we have a place in Kentucky that's spelled like Versailles, but it's pronounced Versailles.
Very good.
Painful.
Extremely good.
So I just that's just the truth. Yeah. And then of course there's the Louisville debacle where nobody can pronounce it correctly unless you live here. Is Louisville, ain't it? No.
Or you have, or your in-laws are from there.
Okay, look, they do ship the jerky place.
Well,
Okay. They have mushroom jerky at my local, like, not the Whole Foods, but like the Whole Foods that's cheaper. Basically, it's got good food. And also isn't owned by Amazon. But mushroom jerky is one, expensive, two, not as good as beef jerky. Beef jerky is straight up the only food I miss being a vegetarian. And I say that and I realize I could just eat beef jerky, but
I could.
I could. Anyway,
um,
that's my that's my rant about beef jerky. It sounds like you were like, it ships, and I was like, I could order some, and then I was like, I don't eat meat. Anyway,
Or some just look at it, give it a little smell.
but
Have
then
you
I
guys-
in your
but
house,
then I
though.
would eat it.
have you guys ever had deer jerky before?
No.
Mm-mm. Never
I
had deer.
I
Had-
reckon it's actually well. Okay, not for you, Mars. You can't have any because it is in fact meat.
I've had
But
it
yeah,
once.
I've
Don't believe
But-
you.
Deer jerky and deer steak are both very, very good.
had fish jerky.
Not had that.
Not great. Like
Yeah.
it tasted good, and it was like right when I was like when I was first going vegetarian, so I like really missed meat a lot sometimes.
Yeah.
So it was like a salmon jerky, and I ate it at a swim meet. And first of all, it was like 3 ounces, so I ate it really fast. While everyone was at like watching someone's event, but I had just gotten done with my event, so I was like, I'm gonna take a rest and eat my fish jerky. And then everyone came back and was like, what the fuck is that smell? It smells so bad. And I just like hid my little fish jerky like the wrapper package thing, and I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, what the fuck is
Um,
that?
Also, I did one time have kangaroo jerky.
Oh.
I don't remember what it tasted like.
It tastes like jerky. I've had it too.
Well,
I know that sounds weird, but it just tastes like jerky. One final thing, gonna give it a big shout out to my state since I was already doing it. Mingy jerky and then Climax water, bottled in Climax, Kentucky,
Yeah.
and they know what they're doing because they
Okay.
they sell T-shirts, and those T-shirts are 100% innuendo, and it's hilarious. So
Gonna go see if they sell those online.
good old Climax, Kentucky.
Yeah, I'm looking for it too. I want a Climax shirt.
Mhm.
There's a website called atasteofkentucky.com, and it's just a
Uh-huh.
bunch of like Kentucky stuff.
Listen, if I'm not on there, you ain't getting the whole taste.
So on that note, we will transition back into the foggy forest with our fun-loving philanthropist Philip.
I don't have any money.
That makes you the best kind of philanthropist. So Philip, you just heard the sound of somebody crying as you were in your expedition to find the infamous Fogwell of Fogwell.
I say, I think Philip is like floating around. As he hears crying, he quickly like plants his feet on the ground, and like sort of looks around and is like, make sure his hoodie's zipped up, obviously, and sort of is like, hello.
Sorry, I got distracted by our general chat where Dustin just says have climax and sent the link to the climax water. Yes.
I want one. I want to buy one.
So Philip, you say hello.
I say hello. Can I hear like a direction where the crying is coming from?
It was somewhat ambiguous until you heard it stop. Like how you can hear a noise, but the second it stops, you kind of like you feel where the emptiness is, or like where the silence sat. And so you turn your head, and in that direction, you hear a very tiny voice say, Hello?
Hello, my name's Philip. I like walking in the forest when it's foggy. I can't help but notice you do too. I think we already have a lot in common.
Uh, are you floating in that direction, or
I think he's awkwardly walking in that direction of like just so they don't see this weird frogman float out of the float out of the fog.
sure? And so as you
They'll just see
walk,
him weirdly walking out of the fog, which I think will be better.
I agree. As you walk past, kind of like a large Douglas fir, you come to the side and you see that the fog has kind of like parted a little bit in this small little, kind of like a small little hollow in the ground. On one end there's like several kind of like gnarled roots coming off of a large tree, and they kind of like create a dip in the ground. And you see sitting against the trunk of the tree is a young girl about, let's say, like 6 years old, kind of like with her knees up to her chest, and she's just kind of like hugging her knees, and she looks up at you, and she's got kind of like a small little bob, black hair and black eyes, and she kind of like looks up at you, and she says, are you lost too?
I think we're all a little lost in our own way. But in this particular moment, subjectively, it kind of, I'm sort of purposefully lost. I know if I walk in a direction at some point, I'll get out of the fog, but that's just sort of, this is just sort of my every, whatever day it is, afternoon. I don't have a schedule or a calendar.
Oh. And you see her kind of like process that for a second before she looks up at you and she says, have you seen my daddy?
And what? No, I don't. I feel no, I don't. I have not. Sadly,
He's building me a tree house.
in the
And
woods.
I came to find him, but I can't. He wasn't there, and I don't know where he is.
Well, I would love to hang out in your treehouse. That sounds like a fun time. Just quickly to clarify, I'm a totally normal person.
You're funny. You can come to my tree house.
Cool. New best friend achieved.
And you see her kind of like she smiles and she stands up and she looks up at you and she says, "My name's Dora."
Hello, my name's Philip. I like walking through the forest. I think I already said that. So I can help you find your treehouse dad, and maybe we can. I don't know. Probably good to find an actual functioning adult for you. I've been told that I'm not that, so
And she giggles again, and she walks straight up to you and takes your hand. Uh, and she says, "You're gonna help me find my daddy?"
that's the hope. I don't. I mean, first off, let's clarify a few things. Did you say that your dad was building a treehouse in the woods, like in the middle of the woods, near a fog hole, perhaps?
Uh, she kind of like puts her head to the side and she says, "You're pretty far from the Fogwell."
Have you been to the Fogwell?
She kind of like shuffles and she looks up at you and she's like, "Are we gonna find my daddy now?"
Okay, yeah, probably let's get those priorities in order. The Fogwell can wait. The dark voices in my head can only yell so loudly. Let's uh,
I want to
sorry,
hear
this
the
might be a little
voices.
weird for you. But yeah, sorry. Yeah, we. So do you know where you live? Like, if we go back to town, can you find your house?
I want to hear the voices.
No, you don't.
Can you show me the voices?
No.
Oh, as you see, she gets really sad. And she kind of starts to pout a little bit.
Okay, let's get going.
So y'all begin walking, and very kind of like slumped. She's sulking a little bit because you won't show her the voices. But you know, she kind of like slowly starts swinging your hand a little bit, and as you're walking through the fog, she kind of looks up at you and she says, "Do you want to play a game?"
Oh, do I ever?
I like to I like to play this game by myself. But I think it'd be fun with a friend. And she reaches down and she picks up like a little rock from the forest floor, and she's like, "I like to throw rocks. Do you want to throw rocks with me?"
Sure, I guess.
You just throw it as high as you can go, and whoever throws it the highest wins. Okay.
Okay. That seems like a good idea.
And she,
it would be, this is a pretty good idea. Unlike for like example, shooting a bullet up into the sky. Let's do that one. Let's rocks are conveniently a lot more safer.
she chucks a rock, and you watch it, like, she's 6 years old, so like, it breaks through the leaves of like the first couple of branches, and you can hear the impacts of like the rock breaking through the leaves, breaking through the branches before you hear it come back down and hit the ground. And she laughs and she's like, "That was pretty high."
You're really good at that. You've got a nice pitcher's hand on you.
What's a pitcher?
Like it holds water, I think.
Oh, my mom has one of those.
I wish I had a mom. And he picks up a rock.
You're gonna throw it?
Yeah, I'll throw it.
Okay. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, like, I'm gonna.
If you want, I can use magic to try to do something beyond human limitations.
If you want to, if you just want to normally throw this rock this first time around, you're absolutely welcome to.
I think, I honestly almost think this is something that like is just happening naturally, and Philip's not doing it
Okay.
willingly. So I guess we'll see how this goes.
As you are prepping to throw this rock, you hear Dora say, you can meet my mom, and then you'll know my mom."
Okay, I like friends. I just rolled snake eyes.
What is wrong with us? Who did we anger?
The rock and the bullet meet in midair and create
and explode. No, and also for a reminder, one of my hex abilities, Bad Luck Charm, whenever I use magic and miss, the backlash never affects me directly. If there's someone else around to hit, it'll go for allies, other hunters, and innocent bystanders. Sometimes, every so often, it might even hit an enemy.
Excellent.
Hello.
Excellent. So,
Uh-oh.
tell me, Chris, tell me like what you're doing, or like what does it look like when Philip is like throwing this rock and attempting to, like,
I think when Philip picks up the rock, I think his eyes glow with a dark energy as he hears like the voices in his mind just whisper dark nothings, like as like the rock begins to glow with like green necrotic energy as he wields back as the voices get louder and louder, and he throws it, and whatever happens.
Yeah, so like you just like launch the rock, and very quickly you see that like imbued with your green necrotic energy is just cleaving through branch and branch and branch like a small little rocket into the air. And you turn and you watch the branches are all falling. Thankfully, like none of them are like falling on you. or Dora, but you see that Dora has not changed in expression. She's just like she watched it happen. Her eyes are wide. There's a huge smile on her face. She's clearly very entertained, and you know you're hearing the branches break, and then you hear a thud, and it's not the thud of rock hitting a trunk of a tree. It's the thud of the rock hitting something, and you all hear kind of like a fluttering, and a large crow just slams down onto the ground between the two of you, stone dead. And it's just kind of like askewed there, and Dora like looks at you and then looks down at the crow, and you see her get like really confused for a moment.
I can either make see in my head I can make this a lot worse. I think Philip sort of looks down, and I think at the dead crow, and I think his head and like neck sort of like twitches a bit at the sign of death, and it's just like we should probably get out of here.
But the birdie's hurt.
Do you want me to fix the bird?
Will you?
Oh, the voices. Oh, they call to me.
Are the voices gonna fix the bird?
Oh, they will. God damn it. And Philip leans over the bird.
Oh,
You
not
might
too
want
late.
to. You might
Don't
want to
have to-
avert your eyes.
She's not. She's watching you with like wide eyes, avid eyes.
All of you, 15 minutes ago, you were like, fake shot a gun in the air. That's the worst thing that's gonna happen today.
I'm just
And
doing
Chris
crimes against God.
Took
I don't
that
know what you're up
personal.
to. And so I
In
think
front of a 6-year-old, you're doing
Yeah.
crimes against God.
I think Philip. I think Philip doesn't have a sharp object near him.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe he takes one of the broken branches that fell from his rock throwing endeavors, and like stabs the back of his hand, and and as like his dark oozing blood like sort of pours into the crow's mouth, he starts enacting his dark magic. Exitamin in medovoka noman meum et salva mekfakdu 10 minutes valgalasa. And as like his blood starts to glow green and enter and absorb into this bird, I guess I'm rolling to my necromancy.
Excellent.
And we'll see how that goes. Okay, that's considerably better. That was a 6 and a 3, which is a 9 plus my 3 weird is a 12.
Excellent.
So the target is revived and partially sentient. It's a bird.
Sure.
And can do menial tasks for the next 24 hours.
Okay, cool. So you would tell me what, like, after you've poured the blood into the crow's mouth, what it looks like as it revives.
As sort of the wound sort of heals itself, as he's dealt himself one harm from stabbing himself in the hand. Let me mark that actually. And the crow sort of, its eyes start glowing the same shade of green as Philip's eyes, and its bones that have been broken sort of start snapping back into place, as it's sort of, and then it's sort of like overall has this green glow to it as it's sort of all its bones crack into place. Some bones that are just straight up broken don't like mend themselves, so it like rolls up and stands, and maybe its neck is still like a little floppy, but overall it's still like looking around, and maybe goes like a
So like Philip, after you have brought this crow back to life, are you like still in the thrall of the voices, or have you kind of like taken the equivalent of like a deep exhale,
Yeah, I think Philip is like like just sort of like breathing heavily as like the voices like are like kind of subside as they have been as their mission of creating undead has been sort of fed, and they're just sort of like good, 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 good.
Uh, excellent. I
And
think
Philip's just standing there and is like, "Oh, hello, new friend."
um, you were immediately like tackle hugged from the side as this little girl runs into you and buries her face into your body, and she says, "Thank you for fixing him, new friends." And she kind of like she's like walking around like mimicking the bird with its like floppy head, giggling.
Yay! I shall name him Philip Jr.
That's a good name.
Okay, back to the journey. And Philip Jr. sort of like, like weirdly flies up onto Philip's shoulder.
And she kind of like holds up her hands and she's like, "Can you teach me?"
Nope.
"Well, can you do it again?"
No.
"But I want to see it again."
It's sort of like when you're riding a bike, when you get tired after riding the bike for so long. I'm very tired.
"Okay, we'll rest." And she kind of like just sits down straight on the ground.
No, but first we gotta get going. We're better rest in a house. Personally, I've spent too much time sleeping outside.
She says, "I'm tired. Aren't you tired? Let's just
I'm always tired. Let's go.
here. We'll play with Philip Jr."
I would like to, overall, this was a lot more than I had bargained for.
She crosses her arms. Aren't you my friend?"
I am your friend, and I would like to, I don't know. I mean, I think don't you want to see your dad? I don't know. I mean, if you really want to sit here, I guess we can.
"I want to sit here with my friend Philip."
Okay. And Philip and Philip Jr. Sit down cross-legged, and he's like, "Okay, let's play a game that I learned. It's where we draw pic. Well, usually I would do this in the sand, but we just have dirt to work with, and so I would draw pictures in the dirt slash sand to make me feel better about being alone."
"I like that game. Let's draw it together."
Okay, and he grabs a stick and he starts drawing a bunch of like stick figures dancing in the dirt and around uh, and yeah, so that's what he's doing, I guess.
Excellent. As we leave this very, very weird yet endearing scene, we jump back to the town square, where currently our tracker is being held at gunpoint for shooting their rifle in the town square. So
Everything is going fine.
Fig,
It's fine.
The officer has her gun pointed to you, and she just asked you to drop your weapon.
So in my head, my weapon was slinged over my that wouldn't make sense. Yeah, I'm holding my gun.
Okay.
And I think that I am going to slide it back and like put it back over my shoulder and then put my hands up.
Okay.
I'm sorry, ma'am. I was trying to get these two to stop fighting. This is some weird business that's happening in this town.
Thank you for standing down. I'm gonna need you to put the rifle on the ground, though.
I can't get it from here.
Or,
What are the two people who are fighting doing?
they have they're overcoming the ringing in their ears, and they kind of like shake their heads for a moment. And for a split second, I'll say you can see that they're very confused about, like, they look very confused. But then their eyes meet, and immediately, again, they collide into one another. And now they're kind of like, they've knocked each other down onto the ground, and they're wrestling for a vantage point on top to just, like, wail on the other guy. And you see that the officer is now, like, she's taken a step back to where her gun is kind of, like, somewhat in a position to like both be on you and be on them. And the yes, correct. And she go ahead. Go ahead and read me a bad situation.
This situation? It's bad?
It's bad?
No.
Are you sure?
Bad situations in your area? More likely than you think. That is 5 plus 4 is 9 plus my 2 sharp is 11.
Very nice.
Yes.
So you get to hold 3.
And my books are in the other room. So
so for the audience, the read a bad situation, when you roll a 10 plus, you get to hold 3, and you can ask one of the following questions. You're going to spend a hold to ask one of the following questions. What's my best way in? What's my best way out? Are there any dangers we haven't noticed? What's the biggest threat? What's most vulnerable to me? And what's the best way to protect the victims? And again, if you don't use some of these holds, you can continue to carry them later.
Right. What is my best way out?
I'll say your best way out is probably to book it when the officer's attention turns to the fighters. You know, like I said, that they're like filtering between the two. It's not pretty, but unfortunately you are in a public place with several eyes on you, and so the only option you have is to try and run away, or you could try and put your rifle on the ground.
I want to do that. Are there any dangers that I haven't noticed yet?
You're beginning to see. Okay, so I mentioned the crowd, right? The crowd that has like their phones, they're still standing at a distance, but they're for sure beginning to kind of like fan out, like you'd see in a middle school watching a fight. And so, you know, they're beginning to fan out a little bit, and you're beginning to see that same posture that you saw on the gentleman who was sitting on the curb, the very kind of like agitated, hostile posture. Some of the crowd are beginning to kind of like take on a similar posture, not to the extent of which they are like rabid at the mouth, but they're just kind of like, they're jumping a little bit, they're jittery, you know, they're flexing their fingers a lot, they're like, but the entire crowd is just like avidly watching this fight. And I will say again, along with the dangers you haven't noticed, is that the two who are fighting on the ground, you know, they were punching, they were kicking, they're beginning to tear flesh. Like they're beginning to like dig their fingers into their cheeks and like dragging and leaving bloody marks and stuff like that. Like it's getting to a very frantic level.
Nice.
Ma'am, I think that I am the least of your worries right now. Those two men are drawing blood. I think they were both men. I don't remember.
Yes, they were. Mm-hmm. Okay. Go ahead and roll me manipulate someone.
No.
Look.
I will say,
do I get a +1 from
read a bad
thank you. Read a bad situation, because I'm acting on my answers.
Yes. I will say
excellent.
Yeah.
I believe in you.
Oh no.
Wait, are you the 6 or the 1? It's the 6.
Oh, those novelty dice. Don't they get us?
God almighty. So that is just a straight 10, because I rolled a 6 and a 4. It's my Jersey Devil. He's, you know what? He's there somewhere.
Hell yeah.
I have cryptid dice. They're great. My charm is normally -1, but I had a +1 from really bad situation, so it's a 10.
All right, dope. So I think so you say this, and the officer's again holding the gun to you, and she like looks and she sees what you've been seeing of like them tearing flesh, and she I think she holsters her gun, and she immediately once again tries to get in between the two and like to tear them apart. So like whoever's on top, she goes in, puts him in a headlock, and begins to like pull him back with her body to wrench him off of the other individual. And you begin to see in the background her partner is like slowly getting up off the ground, holding their head like very gingerly. But you are now not at gunpoint, and technically.
Very cool.
Yeah. What would you like to do now?
I'm not going to get any closer to anybody, but I think I'm going to call out to this cop and her friend, like, these folks out here are getting real wily, all of them. This has to get dispersed or we're going to have a bigger fight on our hands. And I think that I am going to start kind of like backing away from the situation because I don't know what to do.
So you back up, so you're just backing up for the moment?
I am backing up, but keeping my eyes on just everybody doing sus things.
Excellent. You back up 2-3 steps, and then you bump into someone. A short someone. And you hear behind you, "A fight in my town? I don't think so." And you look over your shoulder and you see, maybe like barely reaching 5 foot tall, there is an elderly woman behind you. And in one hand she has a walking stick, and the other hand she has a very long cigar. And you see that she has you see that she has 2 very large like circular a pair of circular sunglasses. I'm gonna need a prop for this.
Oh, good.
Of course, there's a prop.
And you see she doesn't. She
for
doesn't.
the cigar.
Yeah, correct. You see you turn to look at her. She does not look up at you, and she says, "Sweetheart, you're in my way."
And I will just like turn a little bit sideways and just back up a little bit more.
And you see this small elderly woman like begin to walk forward confidently, like without a hint of fear, her walking stick tapping in front of her, the sidewalk, as she just walks forward tapping, and she walks straight up to the officer, and she like pokes her with the stick, and she says, "Nancy, get off of him." And the officer like looks up at her, and she's like, "But Miss Merrill," and she's like, "Get off of him, Nancy. I'll handle this." And you see the officer, she like gets up, her hair's like all astray. She goes over to check on her partner. And you see the elderly woman walk up and just kick one of the guys just like in the ribs, like a good solid thunk. And you see the man just like immediately like double over and like roll to the side, and the other guy like stands up, and you can see that like as he kind of like sits up in his frenzy, he's got like, it almost looks like he's popped some blood vessels in his eyes because they're beginning to go bloodshot. But he's got like, he also has like scratches all across his thing, and she takes her walking stick and just baps him in the face, and he goes, "Oh!" And you begin to see like a trickle of blood kind of like running down their nose, and she's like, "You two are not gonna ruin the beauty of my town, okay? I worked very hard on these petunias." And she points, and you see for sure there's a little plot of flowers like 5 feet away. She's like, "You almost crushed them with your stupid. And she turns to the rest of the crowd, who have all kind of like stopped, and you can see that like their agitated poses are kind of like beginning to calm down slightly. And she says, "All of you, scatter. I don't want to see any of you around here for the rest of the day." And you see that a couple of them are kind of like chuckling a little bit, or like they like almost like against their will, they're like somewhat smiling a little bit. And you see that she kind of like, once again taking her walking stick and like pattering on the street, she walks back and walks over to you, Fig, and she says, Joke's on them. I'm not gonna see them either way.
I am impressed that you can do the job that two cops can't seem to.
Oh, honey, when you've lived as long as I have, couple of a couple of ditzes trying to figure out who's the alpha and who's the beta and who's the sigma. It's all just talk. And I can talk anybody. I can talk circles around anyone out there. And again, she's not looking up at you. She's saying this and she's just kind of like staring straight ahead. And she says, I think Cooper's gonna get up any second now. And sure enough, you look up and you see that Nancy, the officer, is pulling up her partner, Cooper, and kind of like checking to see if he's okay. The two on the street have kind of like stopped. They're still like clutching each other and like wounded, but they're separated. They're not even looking at each other. It seems like the situation has diffused for the time being. And you see that she kind of like takes a puff of her long cigar, and she looks at you and she says, would you mind walking an old woman back to her store?
Absolutely, ma'am. I want to get out of here as well.
Lovely. And she kind of like holds out her hand, like there's a little God, what are those things called? Like it's a it's some kind of like cord that's at the end of her stick that's allowing it to kind of like dangle a little bit so that it doesn't get like lost when she's not using it.
It's like a wrist strap.
Yes, exactly. It's a wrist strap. And she just kind of like holds out her hand so that you will guide her.
Do I know what store she works at?
No, but you could always ask.
Okay. Just want to know if I would already know. There is one issue, ma'am. I do not know the location that you work.
She gives you like this very crooked smile. You can see that she has like a little gap in her two front teeth. And she says, Miss Merrill's Antique Shop.
Of course. Of course. Of course. Of course it is. Of course it is. All right, ma'am. I will go ahead and take you there. And I think I like, does she have her hand out? I think Fig is going to like not know like if it's her hand or if she should give her elbow, and so she kind of ends up doing this like awkward like puts her wrist out and then like holds Meryl's hand on top of it, and so she like has to kind of like walk a little weird.
That's a new one.
I don't handle strangers very often.
Not even blind strangers I can see.
Can you though?
We'll say you do find it pretty easy. It's
Okay.
well within the square's like outer boundary and stuff like that. Like because like most squares they'll have like a courthouse in the middle or like a statue or something along those lines, and there'll be businesses ringing the square. It's one of the businesses there, and so you see that it looks it's a red building segmented within the wall of this street. And you can see that there is like a little wooden sign that hangs from a little lip on that shows that where there's a second story, and on there is like a wood burned sign that says Miss Merrill's Antique Shop, and you can see that it is on the side. There's like a little black cat, and its tail like kind of like encircles the bottom and becomes a wisp of smoke on the other end.
Who did this woman's logo? That's pretty rad. Meanwhile, I'm out here naming things Ocean View Cafe. We got Miss Merrill. Yeah, I will walk her up to the front of the store, and we can RP it. believe that we have arrived at your place of business. I do have a question for you, though, which is, how did you know what was going on out there? I mean, I assume you've lived here long enough that you can take walks around the town without, you know, getting messed up in random stuff, but like I said, you did the job that two cops couldn't.
Well, I was taking a nap, and I heard two dogs just going at each other. And I was like, happens from time to time. And then the barking became a gnawing, and then the gnawing became crunching, and then there was a lot of yelping, and then it went quiet. And I was like, well, that's a really fucking weird dream. Then, a couple minutes pass, I hear raised voices again, and then, for the life of me, I hear a gunshot in my town, just ringing across the square. And then another gunshot. And so I'm looking at myself and I'm like, I've lived in this town for 60 years, and Lord help me, I've never seen so much excitement. So of course, I go to see what's going on. Lo and behold, I walk outside, and I can feel the anger coming off of everyone. And she kind of like stops for a moment, and you see she's like almost like struggling to form the word, but she's like, it's palpable. I walk out and it's like like when you hold an iron, a hot iron, too close to your hand. You just can't help but feel it and feel like it's about to burn you. And she pauses for a moment and she says, this is a nice town, full of nice people. I don't think I've ever felt that before. And you know, these days everybody's angry about something, but this is different. This is dangerous. So, all these kids, and she points, and she like kind of gestures out to the square. I saw them go through my classroom. I saw them go into middle school. I saw them graduate. I know these kids. They're all little fuckers. But they're good kids. They wouldn't do this kind of crap. So they know when I get involved, I'm being serious. So yeah, if I have to swing my weight around town a little bit, I'll do it. For the sake of peace. For the sake of Fogwell. And she kind of pauses to take a little puff of her long cigarette. Now let me ask you a question. You're not from around here, are you, sweetheart?
No, I never sat in your classroom. And, no, I'm not. But I've been here for a little bit.
And she kind of like, she's like nodding and kind of like, again, taking and you see, puffs of smoke escaping from the side of her mouth. And she kind of looks at you and she says, you want to have some tea with me?
Sure.
And you see her kind of like reach out her hand. She touches the door once, twice, finds the knob, opens it up, and with a little ding from a bell, the door to the Miss Merrill's antique shop opens up for you to go inside.
I was hoping I could go inside, so yeah, I will follow Miss Merrill inside and be sure the door closes behind us.
Excellent. As the door closes, we will transition over to our dynamic duo. who have found a severely wounded man collapsing after escaping from the woods. Mars, I believe we left with you saying that Ren was going to get out of the van.
Yes.
Would you like
probably without telling Cole because they are just not. I think they're just in the mindset of like when Arthur's with him, like they follow Arthur and Arthur follows him. So like they're more used to like that nonverbal communication. So
what's funny, Cole's gonna do it anyway. Yeah, Cole is in fact just going to follow. No questions asked, just go.
That's good.
Yeah.
Really quickly, I don't mean to pause y'all because I know you've been waiting for a minute. Dustin, are the windows in your van like power windows or are they like the crank windows?
They're 100% crank windows.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I was just wondering because I was like imagining like you rolling up and rolling down the windows and sorry, it was just for my own sake. So y'all are heading over to the body. Okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't take you very long. The road dips a little bit, you know, because there's usually a little barrier for like water to collect so that it doesn't flood the road and things of that nature. So it dips down a little bit, and as you get to the body, you find a man in his late 30s with like just like completely unkempt like face. Like there's like a certain like scraggly phase between 5 o'clock shadow and like a really unkept beard, and it's like in that moment like facial hair wise, and you can see that the eyes like there are severe like deep bags underneath, and you can see that a lot of the blood that's on their body is dried. It seems as though, and like the way that it's patterned out, it almost looks as though it's like from there's nothing bleeding on their torso, it's all from their arms. And you can see that on their arms, there is very little skin left on their palms and kind of like leading up to their forearms. It's like raw and like for sure still freshly bleeding. It's kind of caked in dirt now as they've fallen down to the ground. But you can also see that they're like, yeah, just like a lot of the clothes and like the clothes themselves, they're ripped, but it doesn't look like self-inflicted rips, if that makes sense. It looks as though, you know, they were ripped through maybe running through the forest or through just kind of like external factors, but not from the person. So as you approach, what are y'all doing?
I think Ren is going to try and like basically do first aid on this person. So take off like tear the shirt completely off, like make sure that they're not bleeding from the chest area, torso area, and then start like probably cutting or like tearing the shirt. They have a sword, they can cutting the shirt into strips, so that they can eventually like bandage this person's arms up.
Okay. Yeah, we'll go ahead and you don't need a roll for that. You can go ahead and start kind of like ripping strips out with your sword, to begin wrapping them around. Cole, what are you doing while Ren is kind of like doing battlefield dressings?
Is this man conscious?
No. I would say like right now he is, like you can see that like his eyelid is kind of like slightly fluttering, but for the most, and like his breath is steady. If you tried to, you could try and rouse him if you wanted to, but for the time being right now, it just seems that he's collapsed in exhaustion and is not responsive. Okay.
No, I feel like getting the bandages on him is more important than waking him up right now. So instead, Cole, with his axe in hand, is going to walk to the edge of the wood.
Okay. Is there...
I will say that just real fast, because it's bother me if I don't, because my brain's like, infection. If Ren had like a water bottle in the car, or even if Cole did, when they saw this person covered in blood, they like grabbed the water bottle and are now like washing that like just washing the dirt off before they bandage, because that's probably good. probably good to not have dirt on the open wounds.
Definitely.
Yeah, if neither of them had a water bottle in the front, Cole would say there's water bottles in the.
Yeah,
I do feel like he would have at least some supplies in the back of the van.
for sure.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna deny you all water. You can definitely have that with you. I'm not gonna be like, the only thing you've got in the van is vodka. Let's have some fun.
Well, I mean, hey, that can also be disinfectant. It's
It's
fine.
very true.
I mean, it would sterilize this man's wounds. It would also hurt.
Yeah. So
And it would also make the sheriff leaving Cole alone a lot worse.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Very true. But yes, so we can definitely say that you were like running the water to like wash away all the as much grime as you can get as best as possible before applying your dressings. Cole, you've walked to the edge of the woods.
Yeah.
Are you looking for something? What do your Cole eyes see? Or are
That's a good
looking for?
question. Because I mean that is his big. Like this is where he stumbled out from. I'm guessing.
Mhm.
I guess Cole didn't see him stumble out though. It wasn't Cole that did it. It was Rin. But I think that Cole is still going to like. You see a man who looks like he's been carved up by an animal.
Yeah.
Next to the woods, you suspect, oh, it's probably something in the woods. So I do think that he is basically looking to see if that animal is still there because, I mean, that could be dangerous.
Mm. Go ahead and we'll say I will let you choose between read a bad situation and investigate a mystery. I feel like there's specific questions that you'd like to ask, so you let me know which one. They're both sharp, so just let me know.
Yeah, which is great for me.
Mm-hmm.
I know that you remember my let's read a good old bad situation, I think. Sound good to everybody?
Go for it.
Here we go. Actually, much better. I mean, much better. Being it's a mixed success this time. That's going to be a 4 and a 4 minus 1. So 8 minus 1 is 7. So
Okay. So with the 7 to 9, you hold 1. You can ask, what's my best way in? What's my best way out? Are there any dangers we haven't noticed? What's the biggest threat? What's most vulnerable to me? And what's the best way to protect the victims?
are there any dangers we haven't noticed? 'Cause I think that's one of the main things he wants to make sure is there anything hidden that is still a danger?
I will say... So, it's foggy from where you're standing as you're looking in. And the swirling of the fog itself can play tricks on the eyes of many. As you peer out, you swear you see a looming shadow like hide behind a tree very quickly. And it's hard to make out details, but it just looks like this a split second shadow hiding behind a tree. At that same time, since I want to give you a lot. Okay. Ren, you find as you're cleaning the wounds, 10, 20. It's almost too hard to count how many splinters are embedded in this man's like raw flesh. And it's like, you know, the upper epidermal is gone. So it's like these splinters are like lying within the layer below that. And like you're cleaning off the grime and things of that nature, but that's just clearing up the small little bits and pieces that you can see just erratically split out, again, from the forearms into the palms and the fingers and down, like this area right here. And it's just like, you see a lot of them for sure embedded within the man's hand and fingers. and they're just like, some of them are big and some of them are just like tiny.
I think Ren is going to grab like as they're doing the first aid, they're going to take some of those bigger splinters and like put them into their pocket to do an investigate on them later, but are just going to try and like basically just remove the bigger splinters and like when you are, oh god, because they are still bleeding. I guess they're just gonna tightly wrap the person, because they figure that them bleeding out is going to be worse than having a bunch of splinters to remove. So
Yeah. Dope. So then
basically just trying to get out the big ones, wrap the rest.
Cole, just to give you like a little bit more clarification on the shadow that I told you about, you're not in an immediate danger. You don't sense as though you and Ren are in immediate danger, but you get a confirmation to something that you already knew, which is there's something in the woods. There's always something in the woods. Yeah, it's Philip.
I'm in the woods.
With that, I'm going to jump to Philip and see what he is doing with his new best friend.
At this point, Philip has drawn the stick figures dancing around a fireplace with a very sad skeleton. The skeleton is very obviously crying, and Philip has sort of lost the plot of what this game was.
You see, Philip, that Dora has also begun drawing, and she has taken one of the sticks and she has drawn a picture of you, a picture of her, and a picture of Philip Jr. standing side by side, or like, you know, on the ground, and she's like, "Look, Philip, it's us."
That is a very good drawing. If I had one word to describe that drawing, it would be friendship.
Yeah, and she kind of like holds up her two hands, and she kind of like pauses for a moment, and she looks up at you and she says, "Philip, I think you're my first friend."
That's cool. I have a good amount of friends now, so I like having more to the list.
And you see that her eyes kind of like her eyebrows furrow a little bit, and she's like, "You have other friends?"
Yes, they could be your friends too, I'd imagine. I don't know. Sometimes Fig gives me angry looks, and then I don't understand why. So maybe, I don't know. She might not be cool with being friends, but sometimes she has a nice little buddy, who like Philip Jr. So that could be, that could be some friends.
And you see her kind of like, again, she looks a little bit angry, and then she kind of like gets excited for a moment, and she's like, but you have more fun with me, right?
I mean, sure. I mean, I have fun with them with so many people. I prefer to be with people instead of being alone, because then the voices get very loud when no one else around to talk over them.
Ooh, I can, and you see that she's getting kind of like excited, and she's kind of like bouncing on the balls of her heels now, and she's like, I can, I'll show you. I can be cool. And she kind of like gets down.
Okay, I already think you're pretty cool.
She gets down on her knees.
Uh-oh.
And she puts her hands over the drawing of Philip Jr.
Oh,
and
no.
you see her like she says nothing. She's just staring, and then you watch the drawing peel off of the ground and begin to like rise up, and you see that the head's flopping, and it's kind of like bouncing from stick foot to stick foot. And she's like, "See, I made my own Philip Jr."
This is...
I did. I learned.
I don't. I am I'm very shook, as the kids say.
And we will cut to Fig sitting. Fig, as you step into the antique shop, you see it's packed with stuff, like lots of stuff. It's very eclectic. You see that as you step in, on your right side there's kind of like a glass counter, and like the register and kind of like an area for employees to sit, and to your left are just kind of like stacks of shelves crammed with things. There's things hanging off of the ceiling, things nailed to the walls. I'll see a couple things of note are, you see that there's like an old-timey bicycle that's hanging from the ceiling. It looks very old, like from the 1920s. You can see that within the glass counter there are several kind of like necklaces, rings, a handful of tarot cards are sitting in there, kind of like sitting next to nice little packages of like, or like leather cases for them and things of that nature. And you can see that the final thing that I will mention is that there is a black and white photo behind the counter up on the wall underneath a clock, and what it looks like is a rodeo clown, an old-timey rodeo clown, kind of like standing on a patch of dirt, giving like waving, and it kind of like sits up on the wall, and you see Miss Merrill kind of like go around the counter, and she like deftly just kind of like finds an electric pot an electric kettle, and kind of like sets it in its place and sets it to begin to boil. And she brings out like two little messes of tea, or like it's two sets of tea cups, and sets them on the glass counter, one for you, one for her. And she kind of pulls out, she like reaches underneath and finds like a little basket, brings it up, and there's like several different kinds of like little tea options in there, and she says, "Take your pick."
I'll root around in the basket for a tea that I like.
What kind of tea do you like?
God, what would Fig like? I hate to say this, but I feel like she just drink fucking Lipton, you know? Can't be picky when you're like out on the road. Chris, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say, why is everybody like cringing on that? What's wrong with Lipton?
There's nothing wrong with Lipton. There's just
Lipton
better tea.
Hot tea, specifically.
Yeah, Lipton hot tea is a bit sad.
Like Lipton iced tea is fine. Lipton hot tea is.
Chris, I'm with you, man. Elitist, am I right?
I've been attacked for no reason.
There are very few things that I'm like kind of prissy about, and tea is one of them, because I am a maximalist when it comes to tea. I have teas in my cabinet that are like ridiculous. Look, it's not important.
There's a vast like selection. You could get like there are some Liptons.
I would go for like an English breakfast, just the darkest black tea that she's got.
There's definitely some Earl Grey in there if you want to grab that, and you kind of like pick it out, and she looks at you and she says, "I wouldn't have judged you if you had taken the Lipton."
Dang, Saul.
I I'm just quiet.
I'm gonna have to announce my leaving of Turntables RPG.
I
I'm
love that he
sorry.
was
Oh, I'm sorry. You
drinking
can't
Lipton.
handle a little bit of tea bullying? Come on.
Yeah, so I just feel totally bullied.
I just want to point out that like this is one of the differences between I think northern and western culture versus southern culture, because Lipton is a good like iced tea. So a lot of people in the south enjoy Lipton. But yeah, if I'm going to heat up a tea, I don't want it to be Lipton.
Yeah, I'm thinking hot tea. This woman's making me hot tea. I've had too much hot Lipton to know that I don't like it. And so we're gonna have something else. I'm sorry. I've never had whatever Chris is drinking, the like pre-made bottles of tea, because I don't believe in pre-made bottles of tea, because I could just make tea in my house. Just digging myself further, aren't I? I take the bag out of its little pouch and I put it in my mug.
Perfect. At this point, the electric kettle beeps. She walks over, brings it over, and begins to pour. She herself has chosen some oolong for herself, and pours the tea, and she just kind of begins to steep a little bit. And she looks at you and she says, one hand steeping, the other one obviously with her long cigarette, and she says,
obviously.
So, what brings you to town?
Well, I do quite a bit of traveling. I don't really have like a home base anywhere. So this just happened to be the town that ended up on my radar. I like the woods out here. They're good for hiking, and I have a pet who likes the outdoors as well and doesn't do well in suburban or urban areas.
And you see she kind of turns her ear to the side and she said,
Is a furry little fella. Where is he right now? I feel like he's on you.
Is he still wrapped around my neck?
I would say like he's probably like dug himself into like maybe if you have like any inner pockets in your jacket, he's probably crammed himself in there during the whole event with the with the guns and stuff.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure he loves gunshot.
Yeah.
Currently he is in my jacket pocket.
You see her, she's like,
Well, it's good to have a companion.
And she kind of like, you see her kind of like reach over and you see, off to the side, kind of like on where like the window facing the street is, there's a taxidermied cat that she just kind of like reaches over and kind of like strokes a little bit, and she says,
They always, you gotta keep them close to your heart. Mm-hmm.
And she kind of like takes a deep hit of her cigarette and kind of just like blows it out, and the air just kind of becomes a little bit more hazy. And she looks at you and she says,
I didn't know what to make of you. Okay, I don't know you. I'm not very keen on trusting strangers to Fogwell. They tend to come and go. And as someone who came and decided to stay, this town is very dear to me. Now...
Oh God, this voice is a little difficult after a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
Always watching. Okay.
She says,
I like you, kid. You seem like a straight shooter, and I respect that. Now, I'm gonna hit you with the same. I have a problem. Well, the neighborhood has a problem. And it's something that not me, the commissioner of the neighborhood watch, or the chairman of the beautification committee can go over and solve. I feel like I need an outsider's eyes on this.
And she gives you another kind of like little crooked smile.
Is that something that you'd be willing to help me? I can promise favors in return.
I mean, as long as I don't have to talk to too many people, my schedule is pretty empty for the time being. So I am not opposed to helping out. And I feel like if I want to stay here for any sizable amount of time, Nancy is not going to trust me. So should probably get off of her bad side. Well, I guess before I agree, what is it that you have in mind that needs to be taken care of?
I need you to find someone. There's a couple. They moved into town, 10 years ago. Sweet kids. Mostly work from home. Husband's a big, works for a software developer, and the wife's what is she? Oh, right, she's an artist. She sells stuff on Etsy. Very cute stuff. I've got some stuff.
And she kind of like pushes her like gray hair aside. You can see some very cute earrings, and she kind of like jiggles them. And she looks at you and she says,
they recently had a baby. About maybe 12 days ago. I been told through certain channels that the husband, Walt Spelling, he left in the dead of night 6 days ago and hasn't been seen since. His wife Sarah is distraught. She won't let anybody come into the house. Nobody help. I've tried taking over some casseroles. They've closed the door in my face. I'm worried about her. I think an outsider might help with getting to the bottom of this. I don't want this town to become a rumor mill. I hate gossip, but I know how useful gossip can be. I don't need the town's eyes on this. The Spellings, they're good folk. I want them to stay. So, favor from you to me, look into the Spelling man disappearance. You don't gotta, anything you can find will help. Maybe start with the house.
I can do that.
They live at the end. Well, it's a light blue house at the end of Zorba Drive. Can't miss it. Oh, and one more thing. Whatever you do, do not let Cole Van Helsing in on this shit.
I don't know that if he catches wind of this, that we're gonna have a choice.
And that's what scares me more than anything.
I mean, he means well.
Oh, they always do, sweetheart. They always do. Just try your best, okay? Do we have a deal?
And she kind of like moves her, she kind of like extends her hand out and moves her cigarette to the other.
Like, feels so serious when this old lady is just like, "Hey, can you find this guy?" Oh god, that's such a good idea. Yeah, I will grab her hand and give it a firm shake, and I, just taking a page from what Mars said, probably just try to have a little, like, kind of like a lighter chat with this old lady, and just be like, "So, if you've taught pretty much everyone in this town, tell me about Cole. Has he always been like this?"
And you see her, she kind of gets that crooked smile again, and she's like,
You want stories, don't you?
I've already seen a couple of weird things happen in this town, and I know that Cole likes to make himself a part of them. Things always been weird? Cole always been weird? How long has he had that van for?
you see her again, she hasn't stopped smiling, and she says,
Oh, honey, you've come to the right place. When you get to my age, all you are is stories.
and I think we're going to go ahead and call our session there tonight and pick up next Tuesday, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Thank you all for playing. That was a lot of fun. Do we want to go ahead and do end of session questions?
Yeah.
Cool.
Probably not a bad plan.
All right. So, first question. Did we conclude the current mystery?
I don't even think we know what the current mystery is.
Good. Okay.
There's like 6 concurrent current mysteries.
Did we save someone from certain death or worse?
I brought a bird back from the dead.
After you killed it.
Oh boy.
It's no longer dead for now.
It's I don't know. It's the question of would this man have died, and will this man die?
Oh, the wood, the Splinter
Yeah.
Man.
Mm-hmm.
The
Yeah.
Splinter Man.
From the
Splinter Man
creators
is
of
a-
Slender Man, we bring you Slender Man.
That's Walmart brand Slender Man.
I don't
I
know
feel
if the exact. Sorry.
I was gonna say, I feel like being filled with splinters is worse than certain death. So that he's receiving any kind of care could fit the bill for that question. Fig did not make anything better, I don't think. So
So
We'll go
we
ahead and say no.
Okay.
killed and unkilled a dead bird and administered basic first aid.
Mhm.
Great.
that.
We're doing well.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
got the tea on Cole.
Okay. Next question. Did we learn something new and important about the world?
The Fogwell.
Yeah, that's true. This is the first time we've mentioned the Fogwell.
Yeah, that is true.
Mhm.
And also, there's apparently a little girl who can summon drawings from the dirt.
yup.
Yeah.
Which I didn't know about. Did any of you know about that part?
I
No.
Didn't. This
I missed that
one's
part.
news to me.
First time I'm hearing about it.
All right, I'll give you all a yes for that one then.
We also learned that clowns are here.
Uh,
There
Rodeo
sure do be
clown.
clowns here.
yeah, I know, but the cop was only in the beginning, so
Hey.
Ta-da.
Ooh.
Very good. Very quickly before we get on to the last question, I have a small little story. I started doing last year when we did the St. Jude charity drive. They sent me this little button that does the air horn sound. That and
really?
they did. It's like it says like St. Jude. I don't know if y'all can see that, but
Yeah, but it says St. Jude, and it's like,
I don't. There's
the
no
air horn
batteries in it right now. But
thank God.
sometimes I will put it, or like I did it once during work, like during a meeting, just as a joke. And now they want me to like they like ask me to do it like a lot. They're like, oh,
No.
so do you have the button? And I'm like, no, I don't, or something like that, or something along those lines. And this past Monday, I ran the staff meeting for our team, and I put batteries in it and I hit the button, and like out loud in this meeting, I hit the button and it went and I said, "I am Pagliacci the clown." And I don't know if anybody got it, but just talking about clowns made me think of that, and I wanted to share it with people who would maybe understand. And yeah, sure enough, whenever we like shifted, to a different segment in the agenda, I would play the little button,
Incredible.
because I'm the young guy on the staff, and gotta keep things hip and exciting.
Young hip guy. He's got
Yep.
the humor. He's
Mhm.
got the
Sounds
I'm
a lot
a
better
funny
than
guy.
my first meeting I had whenever I had it.
There's a lot that I could tell you about that meeting, but okay, so last question. Did we learn something new and important about one of the hunters?
I don't think so. It sounds like we're going to learn something about Cole next session.
We
I
learned
mean,
that Philip should be locked away in like a special secret like
None of you are
Marvel
around.
basement. Like,
None of you will ever know what happened.
About
Yeah,
it.
only best friends know.
All right.
Yeah, only those in the best friends club.
Yeah, Cole's heartbroken. Like he doesn't even know why. There's just something inside of him that's like,
Something sinks a little bit.
yeah, like poor Cole, abandoned
Philip
again.
is at such a conflict of his character, because he's like, I desperately want to be liked, but I also have some friends that are a little higher on the list, but I don't want to ruin this potential friendship.
Yeah, I mean, we learned that Cole didn't do his registration on his vehicle.
All
is
right.
true.
Okay. All right.
Okay,
Either way,
so-
if this
And
doesn't
okay,
affect
now
anything-
this is legitimately though that the town apparently, or at least there's some people in the town that don't really trust Cole,
Mm.
since she
Yeah.
did in fact say, "Don't let Cole in on this."
She hasn't said why, but she did say it.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah.
also got we got some introduction of like the sheriff being like, "Okay, Cole, hello."
We got information that Ren carries around 2 swords now because
Either
Actually,
way,
he
either
feels
way,
Either way,
We
we only
guilty.
get one
Okay.
experience.
Yeah.
Legitimate answer. We learned that Cole knows martial arts, which none of you knew up until this point,
fair enough.
because the sheriff did in fact talk about martial arts. In fact, Ren may not have even known it at that time until they heard.
Yeah.
Very well. I will give you all a second yes then. Go ahead and mark one experience.
Yeah.
You may-
Woo!
You can have a little martial arts as a treat.
Very
Instead of
fun.
marking one experience, we'll mark one experience.
Yep.
Awesome. Cool. Then we'll go ahead and leave it there. Thank you everyone for joining us tonight. I hope that you had fun. It was an action-packed like last hour and a half, or last half hour. I'm very excited to see everyone again next week. Please take care of yourselves. Be kind to yourselves. Unclench your jaws. Drink some water. Go ahead and go stretch, and try and get as best of a night of best words. Try and get the best sleep that you can. We love you very much. We appreciate you so much, and we'll see you next Tuesday.
Goodbye.
Bye.
So long. Farewell. When will I see you again? Tomorrow?
next Tuesday.